Live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
It is a perfect winter's day at Downer Oval, otherwise known as Point Gellibrand, in the home of the Williamstown Football Club. It is round 10 in the hard jacket, totally workwear VFL, and we are here to see the Seagulls take on North Melbourne. It is a big round 10 clash at Downer Oval for this edition of Hard Jacket, totally workwear VFL Live. My name is Adam Sarikoglu, and it's the same call team as we had last week at Arden Street, where North Melbourne did get a very impressive 29-point win over the previously undefeated Tigers. My name's Adam Sarikoglu. Alongside me is Michael Peppicelli, and Peps, Williamstown's just put on a perfect, splendid day for football here today at Point Gellibrand.
It certainly has, Adam. Perhaps the most picturesque ground in all of the VFL. We have a beautiful view of Port Phillip Bay. Anyone watching us on the visual stream on VFL.com.au can probably see Port Phillip Bay in the background. The sky's blue, the water's blue. Beautiful day, and as the Kangaroos make their way on to Downer Oval, looking forward to a big game of footy. Looks like a mismatch on paper, but with the hot form of North Melbourne in recent weeks, especially last week, we were there, we saw them against the Tigers, expecting a really good contest today. Seagulls
coming off a 20-point loss to Box Hill last week. As I said, this is round 10, one game already complete in the VFL. That occurred earlier today at the Swinburne Centre. Richmond back to their winning ways, 13-8-86 over Geelong, 9-9-63. Liam Nelson kicking 4 of those goals. Maybe a Chol back in form with 2 as well for the Tigers. Nathan Kruger, who is in form from a Geelong perspective, kicked a couple as well. Our man boundary side today, I hope we've got him somewhere, Mark Stone. Stoney, welcome.
Welcome to you too, gentlemen.
What a beautiful day.
It is a great day. You come down here sometimes not sure what you're going to get. Sun's out, blue sky. Both teams just done their preliminary warm-ups. Williamstown go off the ground, North Melbourne on the ground at the moment. But look out to the bay. You're right, Michael. This ground, picturesque ground. It's one of the best in the VFL, just for the scenery, and can't wait. Give me a good context. You've seen North Melbourne last week. If they can bring that to the table today and cause an upset here, would be magnificent. It's very difficult to play here for sides that play here. People don't know this ground. It's shaped differently. The breeze is a bit of a breeze today, which is actually going into your faces down to the southern end here at Point Gellibrand.
More often than not, that is the case, Stoney, where this is the scoring end of the ground toward the tennis courts, as opposed to toward the Melbourne CBD end of the ground, so we're not too surprised by that. Normally we get a bit of a cross breeze as well toward the bay. I'm looking at the flags on centre wing at the moment behind you, Stoney, and that seems to be blowing directly toward Port Phillip.
Yeah, you're right, into a pocket here where the grandstand is. Yep. So
towards us.
Yeah, towards you guys. So
that's good for the broadcast.
As the Spirit of Tasmania is going past, gentlemen, there's a boat in foreground.
It's a beautiful ground, this one.
No, it's a great ground, and as the umpires are walking on the ground at the moment, so we're looking for a good contest today. And I think if North Melbourne can bring that to the table, we could maybe have an upset, but I think Williamstown just really hard to beat on this ground.
It is 6th on the ladder versus 3rd last, but as Michael said, North Melbourne have played some good footy of late. David Loader has successfully got things back on track. Fascinating coaching matchup. We love Andy Collins. He's one of our favourites here. He's been a star for Williamstown since coming across Stoney, and he'll be coaching on the bench, no doubt, today, as he always does.
Yeah, with his little head pieces.
He might be wearing the AirPods these days.
Actually, I never asked him what he actually listens to, but I'm sure he's listening to the box.
I've heard it's an actual phone call. It's just an ongoing phone call for the entire quarter between him and the box.
Yeah, well, that's what it'd be.
That's my understanding of what that is.
It's a great look, actually, and Andy's been doing it for many years, even since he started coaching the VFL, always had that look. And one of the first pioneers, in fact, to obviously coach in the boundary, and now we see a few AFL players or coaches do it now, which is really good to see.
Stoney, I just noticed something interesting. Declan Watson just gone into the rooms in the middle of the warm-up. He's just gone down into the rooms here underneath the grandstand here in the middle of the warm-up. Must be something going on there to keep an eye on. Whether he's hurt himself.
He could have to go a little.
Maybe something as simple as that, a change of boots maybe. But did notice that from a team's perspective. Curtis Taylor being held over. He's not playing today. He played some very good footy last week, particularly defensively. His numbers weren't great, but defensively and his pressure acts were quite good for North Melbourne. Bit of team news as well for the Kangaroos. They've made a late change, and Joseph Ugle comes into the side as a last-minute replacement for Reece Mutch, who was going to be the 23rd man today. Reece Mutch out of Maribyrnong Park and West Meadows football clubs in the Essendon district. So a late change for the Kangaroos there. 14 AFL listed players out here today. Williamstown, a very settled lineup, as we know. Jalen Thorpe is laid out. Declan Watson's just come back out onto the park now behind you, Stoney. So maybe he did just change his boots or something along those lines.
Yeah,
but as I said, 14 AFL listed players for the Kangaroos today.
Yeah, and just as I said, their younger players have really developed. I've been watching the North Melbourne team over a number of years, and see Mackay and Durden's gone up this week, but all their younger players are developing quite nicely. So we've seen that on show last week. Aaron Hall's played a great game. He's out there today. So going to be interesting to see how they go against the experience of Williamstown.
And from a Williamstown perspective, guys, a couple of big ins, looking at Nick Rodder and also Nick Meese. Rodder, one of their leading goal kickers, hasn't played since round 5. So he'll be looking to make his impact felt on the scoreboard. And Nick Meese, we know what kind of a player he is. He's been a star for a long time at this level, and he'll surely help the Seagulls break even at the very least against Tom Campbell in the ruck division this afternoon.
Yeah, the veteran Nick Meese, some suggest the best ruckman in the VFL, round 6'3", but his bollocking work and gives his players first use at the ball, round stoppages. He's had likely to have 60, 70 hit-outs. It'll be challenging today against young Campbell or Campbell and Christian Jerry, but Nick Rodder's a good in for the Williamstown side. He's a goal kicker, takes a really good mark, takes a good defender with Nick because he's good in the air, and as he runs out there, and the boys just two really good ins for the Williamstown side.
Adam Marcon has led the Seagulls out onto Downer Oval. A couple other games taking place. They're all tomorrow. A few teams on bye this week with the Queen's birthday and the mid-season break for a lot of clubs. So the games coming up tomorrow will be Northern Blues and Coburg Preston City Oval. I did see on the social, Stoney, the Preston Bull Ants making a comeback tomorrow against Coburg. One, they're going to wear the old-fashioned jumpers against the Lions Art and Northern Blues.
And that's a great concept to recognise the Bull Ant. It's one of the oldest clubs, and those older listeners or mature listeners remember Harold Martin and Peter Marshall and even Ray Shaw played the old Bull Ants in the old days. So they're around still, which is great to see for the comp.
And the traditional venue as well, Preston City Oval, that one, Kramer Street. Frankston taking on Port Melbourne at Skybus Stadium. There's a clear favourite there. Hopefully the Dollies can at least be competitive against the Borough. And then the game you can watch on Channel 7, the VFL match of the day, will be the Casey Demons taking on Collingwood at Casey Fields from 2:10.
That'll be a really good game. Casey, wherever he knocked them over last week, and Collingwood, you never know what you're going to get with the Pies, what sort of side they put on the park, and how they play from week to week. Casey, the Melbourne obviously side of it, will be willing to trying to get some form back into their players, and so that will be a really close contest, I reckon, no doubt.
I won't touch it.
Yeah, you're right, Stoney, especially with Casey suffering a loss last week, and I'm not sure what happened there. My microphone might have been switched off, but Collingwood are really struggling at VFL level this season. As you mentioned earlier, Stoney, a few injuries at AFL level, and that's starting to have a bit of an impact on the VFL side as well. Disappointing loss last week to the Borough. They'll be looking to respond. And Casey, last year's grand finalists, they've had a rough season so far, expecting their class to show through potentially towards the end of the season.
Yeah, it's always good. I reckon I love this competition because of those reasons, because at the start of the year, sides are finding their form, new players coming in with a transition from TAC Cup, other players coming into a combined situation. There is, for the listeners, there's probably a turnover in most VFL clubs of 20 to 25 players per season because of local football and other reasons, and so it takes sides a bit to work out. 8 weeks in, and then we've got players coming back from injury, and then player sides towards the end of the year, the back end half of the year, start to get a bit of form up. The players are playing together a lot more, so it is a bit of a season in 3, I reckon, the VFL season.
There are buys for Box Hill, Essendon, Footscray, Sandringham and Werribee this week. The Tigers are going okay, Stoney, at the moment, the Werribee Tigers.
Yeah, they're going okay. Just 5-3, and after 8 weeks, really good about. I think the players really enjoyed is the bye situation. Werribee played 4 games, had a bye, played another 4, had a bye. So in 8 weeks, obviously, they've got 5 and 3. Rest a few players that need a bit of rest. Players go back and play local footy, which is good for the local footy clubs, where players can go back and have a bit of a run around. I know Michael Barlow is actually playing for the North Warrnambool Eagles today. That's his brother's team down in the Hampden Footy League. So Michael's going to suit up today and play for the
North what?
Warrnambool Eagles.
Warrnambool, sorry.
Yeah, North Warrnambool Eagles. So he's going to suit up for those boys and he's help his brother out. And I think it's great that the players can go back and play some local footy and give something back.
He's a good VFL man. Michael Barlow's been involved in a couple of the broadcasts as well, I think, for Channel 7, and I think I've heard his voice on other platforms. We've got the coin toss coming up now. Adam Arco and Brendan Whitecross.
Just mentioned that Williamstown have got it must be a tribe of clash jumper or their jumper representing the Seagulls, a new little design there.
And it's a pride match today.
That's
so
right,
we saw the women against Melbourne Uni earlier today wear the rainbow sash for Williamstown today. So we see Brendan Whitecross win the toss and he'll go to what we think will be the scoring end, Stoney.
Yeah, that'll be the scoring end, and probably a 3-goal breeze, I reckon, at the moment. But it is a little into the pocket towards the bay, so I might get a bit of action. I might get a few touches today, boys, down here on the boundary.
You'll certainly be kept very busy, Stoney.
Nearly got a couple last week, Stoney.
Yeah,
in fact, you called mine for one that landed about 50 metres away, so you're real hungry for a touch.
I am hungry for very much for a touch.
It's good to have Mark Stone back on Hard Jacket. Totally Workwear VFL Live. Not far away from a start. It's the only game in the VFL taking place this afternoon. Earlier today it was Richmond by 23 over the Cats. A little bit of revenge for a rather disappointing result at the MCG last night for Tigerland, but the Richmond VFL side in fine form at the moment. They are on top of the ladder at 8-1. Seagulls looking to push into the top 4. Not a great percentage for the Seagulls. If they win well enough today, they will tonight at least be in 4th spot on the table.
Need to find a bit of information about Joseph Ugle, boys, just see if we can get some information.
Yeah, he was a late inclusion, not named on Thursday evening.
So I might do some work at half-time or during the breaks.
As the countdown's on now here on the electronic scoreboard at Downer Oval. It's a lovely day for football, a little bit breezy as it always is here at Williamstown, but the sun is shining. Ground's in pretty good condition, Stoney, given we've had a couple of wet weeks in Melbourne. I know it's been a nice couple of days where we haven't seen rain, but we've seen this ground at occasion, Stoney, just be an absolute mud heap.
It is in really good condition. They've had the cover on
centre wicket's a little
sticky, but they've had the cover on it, so we had a lot of rain during the week. I know that down at downtown Curlewis, where I'm residing at the moment, there was a lot of rain during the week, and ground looks in magnificent condition. Done a lot of work to council and the footy club, which is great to see.
So one of our favourite grounds in the Hard Jacket, Totally Workwear VFL. It'll be North Melbourne kicking toward the western end of the ground, and Williamstown will go towards the Melbourne CBD end. We've got Stoney boundary side on the Port Phillip Bay wing. And one of Peter Mercado's favourites, Stoney, the outer wing here, the expensive side of the ground. We love it.
You usually have an ice cream truck over there at the Carnival Rides.
There is, right up the scoreboard there, Stoney. I know you love an ice cream.
It is actually not a bad day for an ice cream today, so you never know.
It's a beautiful day for that.
You never know.
So it is round 10. Seagulls looking to push into the top 4. North Melbourne looking to continue their good recent form. Here is Michael Pepichelli.
Thanks, Adam. Ready to go underway here. Round 10 action in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. And North Melbourne will get the first clearance through Hall, but they've retreated. Now Hayden sends it towards half forward. Rovat 1-on-1, almost took a strong mark. Turned 25 yesterday, did Nathan Rovat, and he shot a handball out and gets himself an early touch here this afternoon. And inside forward 50, the Kangaroos go. Garner takes a mark right on the paint. Had a great game last week, did Taylor Garner. Kicked 3 goals, 2 to go with 18 disposals and 9 marks. As Ugle runs past looking for the handball. He won't get it, the 23rd man. Late inclusion. Garner's going to have a ping himself. The kick's going to fall short in the square. Campbell there, off hands. Through for a minor score. Kangaroos hit the scoreboard early. Williamstown yet to touch it. they'll get their first touch here from the kick-in.
And you'll see that when the ball goes in with this breeze, that Nick Meese will have to go down with Tom Campbell. Very good in the air, Tom Campbell. So Nick Meese is right next to him when that ball come in.
As a ruckman, averaging more than 20 disposals a game, Tom Campbell this season in the VFL. As Tippett's ball right to the middle of the ground. Couldn't quite pick out Hibbert. Nice tackle laid there by Watson and a ball up beside the centre circle.
Of course, Hibbert will be playing against his former teammates as a former Kangaroo player.
Meese wins the tap, although Danell missed it on the way through. And here's another one of our favourites, Stoney. W squared, Willie Wheeler, wrapped up in the tackle.
Yeah, he's been an amazing player in the VFL, Willie.
Been a great play since coming across from Coburg. Umpire throws it up once more. Again, Meese wins it over Campbell. One cross slipped over. Garner the little tap. It's Wheeler again on the bottom of the pack.
Obviously, this game we really contested. Both Williamstown especially are a very contested football team, and North Melbourne want to try and match that to get in the contest.
Lee Masters has the job on Lockie Hosey. As the ball trickles inside 50 here for North Melbourne, Sherry had it bounce away from him. Now Charleston gets his hand pass off to Greiser. Nice little kick down the line, finds a Wheeler on that expensive side of the ground. Marcon's kick is good. And the Seagulls looking to go with their first attack of the game.
Pickus, the man who has it on the outer wing, took his time and then decided to go. Kick towards half forward, pulled at the last moment. Not quite to the advantage of his teammate. North able to clear through a Hearn. They had the numbers at ground level. Campbell, the handball to him wasn't great. It's never good when that happens with a big fella. Now a chance for Williamstown. Inside forward 50 they go. The kick came from Atavi. And in front, the mark taken by Ben Kennedy. About 30 metres out. In fact, it's Billy Myers.
So really good. See the way the Williamstown play, always supporting their teammates, get the ball on quickly. Really hard at a contest, and that's why there's a shot on goal right now.
So, didn't kick a goal last week, did Billy Myers, but was one of their best. He comes in and whacks it into the post.
That breeze, didn't allow for that breeze. That breeze is really strong into the pocket, so you need to allow for that.
We had a great view of that one, Stoney, and as he said, the breeze got a hold of it as North now using that breeze to their advantage. 2 kicks and they already have it just past centre wing, but that's where it comes unstuck. Monk did well to spin his way through a couple of Kangaroos, and the kick towards Myers fell a little short, and that's where they've turned it over. North Melbourne a chance now, but Danell able to intercept. A little bit scrappy from both sides early on. Often difficult conditions here at Downer Oval. Ahern had his handball intercepted, and now Myers for Williamstown just sends it in hope towards half forward, and a good mark going with the flight of the ball taken by Martin.
Sammy Martin, a former Bushy from Manila.
Kick in board, and the mark not quite taken by Atavi. Off hands. North defence needs to be good here. Kicks a grubber, intercepted as well. Now a chance for the Seagulls. The snap on its way, and it's got the distance for a goal. Adam Markon, the skipper, gets the Seagulls on the board.
Yeah, Adam Markon around the packs is very dangerous. He'll rack up 30 plus today. But you see again the contested footy of Williamstown, just harass, and North Melbourne know they've been playing, because there'll be a lot more pressure today from the Williamstown side than there was last week on the Richmond side. And as that goal was a good goal against the flow, against the breeze, and first goal on the board.
5 minutes that took for the first goal of the afternoon. Seagulls 1-1-7, North Melbourne 1 behind.
And Markon kicks his 6th goal of the season, having a good year, averaging just under 23 disposals per game. One of a number of Seagulls that came across from the Northern Blues. Nick Meese, one of them as well in the ruck contest here. Kane Lambert was another one, now applying his trade with the Tigers at AFL level, as Charleston takes the mark just in front of full back.
The dancers, I like to call him.
Jack Charleston. Down the line, Danell, the target of the kick, goes up, brings it down, the former Saint. Left half back, centralises the ball for Meese. It's going to bounce though for Greiser. His kick's a good one towards half forward. Williamstown look good so far today. It's in the hands of Billy Myers. Long and deep. It's going to land in the pocket. There was a fist on it. Watson with the tackle.
He's gone. No.
Atavi wrapped up. and a ball up inside 50 for the Seagulls.
The other umpire who wasn't the officiator was going to play holding the ball. He was ready to do the old take over job, but no, ball up.
Ball thrown up. Campbell and Meese do the dance once more. That'll be the main ruck contest for a lot of the day today as Hall clears it from D50. Underneath it's Whitecross and Tippett. Charleston came as well. Rovat pressured him. It spilt out of play.
Beautiful day here. The sun is magnificent. It really is a beautiful day. I can feel the sun on my face. Might be getting a sunburn, suntan.
Certainly is a beautiful day in Melbourne. Certainly not what you'd expect in early June, as the umpires picked out a free kick for Campbell here in the ruck. He wants to send the Kangaroos long, and that's exactly what he does. Best place to take it was Masters, but just misread it in the air. Now a chance for the Kangaroos. Here comes Holmes, the snap. Out of bounds on the full.
He was good last week too, Nash Holmes. He's tougher in the contest, and early shot on goal. Just seen him pluck that ball out of the pack there and have a shot on goal there.
He was excellent. One of their best last week, Nash Holmes. Had 13 disposals and 8 tackles. He's just a tackling machine. Does the tough stuff coaches love. Also averaging 18.6 disposals for the season. Is Tippett the man to take the free. Sends it long. Big pack of players around it. And the umpire will call for it.
3 AFL listed field umpires out there today. Just outside 50 here for North Melbourne. Still looking for their first goal. Smothered off the boot of Hall. Garner looking for a holding the ball. He might get it. Umpire does pay it. Free kick coming up for the Kangaroos.
He'll have a shot Garner from here, no doubt.
Jeez, a long way out, Stoney.
I reckon if I'm looking from the other side. He's nearly, I reckon he's 48 metres, gents.
The mark is right on. Well, from here, it looks like it's almost right on 50.
And so he's got the breeze at his back, right? So he's in the right pocket to kick the goal.
Liam Hunt, the man on the mark. So Taylor Garner, 3 goals, 4 for his season. The kick is off the side of the boot. Out of bounds on the full again.
Not a good execution.
Just having a little bit of trouble negotiating that breeze early on, the Kangaroos. It is perhaps the most unique home ground advantage in the entirety of the hard yakka totally workwear VFL. What the Seagulls have here at Downer Oval as Murphy floats across to take the intercept mark for North Melbourne. Has it too far out to score, and he's just going to set it up to the hot spot. Numbers are there. Hosey, off hands, minor score.
Who was that fist from then? There was a fist late there because it was going to fall straight in the North Melbourne player's hands.
Didn't quite have a good eye on that one, Stoney, but as you said, it was a great defensive effort. North Melbourne just struggling to find the range at the moment as Charleston takes the kick in, sends it long up the guts. Great mark taken from 3 deep by Atavi. Had a great game last week in the absence of Meese, played in the ruck on his own. Sends it towards half forward. Meese got involved, but now going inside 50 of the Seagulls. North Melbourne defenders need to be good here. Eventually picked up by Campbell, and it's extracted. Hall running onto it, dragged down, free kick.
Could be 50. No.
Just a free kick to be taken by Aaron Hall, and needs to redo his bootlaces. Scoreboard here giving us some AFL around the ground scores, Stoney.
Who was that? What game was that?
Well, I saw Brisbane 2-2-14. I'll bring it up in a moment. This play will resume now. No VFL games to look at around the grounds today, so we'll try our best to keep you abreast of what's happening at the top level. Kick towards half forward. Going back, taking a nice mark was Ollie Tate. And he'll go inboard. Pickus, former Dolphin. Off right half back, looking to switch and look for Joel Tippett. Good mark taken. Again, the Seagulls using the outer side to attack. It's up towards half forward. Denell let it bounce. Then it ricocheted out of play. And we have a boundary throw in, so that game taking place in the AFL. Carlton 0-2-2, Brisbane 3-2-20.
Good luck to David T too, an old sparring partner I used to deal with through the Northern Blues. It's good to see him coaching footy. He's a good bloke.
Ball back into play. Lots of numbers around it, not coming out. Sherry on top of Hibbard, who was on top of the footy, and will get a ball up. Sherry won it down, but it was all Williamstown at ground level, and the Seagulls will get a free kick as well for a high tackle. A little bit going on afterwards as well, and it's going to be 50 metres.
Can't afford to do that.
So a couple of Kangaroos players just not too happy with the treatment they were getting, and they've given away 50 and might be within range here, Williamstown. Sam Donnell has the footy.
Right in the goal square now.
It's a pretty generous 50. It might have been 100, in fact.
There's been a couple off the ball. I'm just trying to work out the players involved there.
So Donnell from point blank range is going to slam home Williamstown second. They move to 2-1-13. North Melbourne 2 behind. A little bit of confusion here at Downer Oval. Must have been a double 50 because the original one was paid from centre wing. A couple of, I think Sherry was involved. Might have given away the first one, but
Daly Andrews might have been involved because he's just come off the ground. So yeah.
Either way, Williamstown gets the goal. Donnell gets his first, and the Seagulls get their second. They lead it by 11 points, 12 and a half minutes into the opening term.
Rodder into the ruck here for the Seagulls. Looks like it might be Tristan Sherry going up against him. Good bounce in the middle. Well picked up by Monk. Got his hand pass off. Martin sends the Seagulls up towards half forward once more.
Good kick.
That's a very, very good mark taken by Joel Atavi.
Good story, Sam Martin. He's had 3 years, 4 years out of the system playing for Benalla in the Golden Valley and come back and wanted to play another crack at VFL footy. It's a good story, and he's doing well for the Seagulls.
Joel Atavi will spend time with the Keilor Football Club in recent years. Slide angle.
Reese picks up.
And he's just poked it. Didn't have a shot in the end. Poked it to the top of the square. Rodder, 2 bites of the cherry. Couldn't take the mark. Now wrapped up his mark on. That'll be a ball up.
He should have gone long there, actually. That breeze would have nearly taken that through. Unless he couldn't make the distance.
Seagulls in scoring range here. Ball's tapped down. Needs to get the hand pass out. And then a little shot from Kennedy is missing to the near side. 2-2-14 playing 0-2-2 halfway into the opening term. On this edition of Hard Jacket, Totally Workwear VFL Live.
That was Mitch Hibbard bursting through. A bit of a set play, that one, I reckon.
Kick in comes for the Kangaroos. Carried in the air. Tippett read it best. Didn't take the mark, but tracked it at ground level. And now the kick into the middle of the ground. Dangerous, but it worked out. Martin able to scoop it up and send it to Masters. His kick faded in the breeze. Not to the advantage of the leading target there in Donnell. And now a ball in dispute. Henderson had his snap at goal smothered. Now Ahern with a little bit of time and space. Had Campbell calling for it in the middle of the ground. Decided to go wide instead. Needing to be careful there was Wheeler, but did okay in the end, and the mark taken in the middle of the ground by Masters. Ugle was bearing down on Wheeler there, but able to get rid of it, and now inside forward 50 the Seagulls go, but Sherry dropping back. Takes a good defensive mark for the Roos. His kick short is okay for Morrison, and now Crocker, one of the Kangaroos' best players from last week. Did a dour job in defence, and he's doing it again. Sends it towards centre wing, but only as far as Monk, who took on a couple before sending it towards Rodder. He couldn't quite handle it on all fours. Went back again, did Rodder. Did okay, but once again, just wasn't clean when he needed to be. Here's Markon with a little bit of time and space. He can go for number 2, and from 50, he's got it. Adam Markon playing a great first term. Has his second goal of the afternoon. Williamstown 3-2-20. Leading the Kangaroos, 2 behinds, 15 and a half gone. Opening term, round 10 action. Hard Yakka, Totally Workwear, VFL Live.
They look really sharp today, the Seagulls. They're really around the packs and at stoppages and their ball movement. And They really have caught North lapping or napping at the moment, and they're playing some good footy.
Top 3 ball getters, all Seagulls so far. Joel Tippett has 6, and Billy Myers and Willie Wheeler both have 5. Paul Ahern leading the way for North Melbourne with 4.
That Tippett scenario, they'll have to try and man up the Tippett because he's running down the ground and really linking up well with his midfield.
Joel Crocker also has 4 for the Kangaroos. Back live, good start for the Seagulls. Clearance here for the Roos, up towards half forward. Doing very well, reading it in flight was Masters, and he just slapped it back toward half forward. Rodder, bouncing ball picked up, brought to the deck by McKay, good tackle. Umpire says that will be holding the ball, no disposal. And a free kick for North Melbourne. As we approach time on of this opening term, Morgan kicking board for Ahern. Left half back for North Melbourne, sends the Kangaroos into attack, but Monk has been very good. Picks that one off.
Well done, Joel Tippett. Just blocked his man out, guarded his man, and his defensive man took the mark.
Braden Monk, one of a number of former Western Jets in this Seagulls lineup. His kick, though, for Masters, not great. Lucky it wasn't out of bounds on the full. Quarter time at Marvel Stadium. Brisbane 3-3-21, Carlton 0-3-3. The Brendan Favola Cup. Umpire brings this in. Meese. Hand pass on the way through. Masters had to go to the deck to gather the ball, and that allowed him to be tackled and pressured. Chance here for the Kangaroos, holding on to what was Rovat. Nice kick out wide to set up Crocker. He is in the same spot. We saw a shot earlier in the quarter.
So a bit closer, or is he around the same spot, Adam?
The angle's probably slightly better this time around. Trying to remember who had that first one. Was it Rovat?
Garner, I think it was.
Garner. So the Kangaroos, they just need a steady here at the moment.
They do.
Crocker's kick is on the way. Distance won't be the issue, but it's gone across the face. 3 behinds playing 3-20. It's a very similar scoreline to that at Marvel Stadium. 18 minutes gone, opening turn.
Seagulls by 17 points. It's Tippett taking his time from the kick in, eventually called to go, and he'll notch up his 7th disposal with an absolute mongrel towards half back. Big pack around it, eventually offhand it ends up with Hibberd. He just kicks it into space. Kennedy needs to run onto it and did well, but Morgan was there also for North Melbourne to halve the contest, and that's where play comes to an end. We'll get a ball up.
Just an observation. When the ball come in there was so many Williamstown players around the ball, they had options to get the ball out. So they're playing really, really smart football.
Ball up in the centre of Downer Oval. North player wrapped up, and we'll do it all again. Hayden it was who had it. 22 disposals last week for Kyron Hayden. Had himself a good game. Weren't many Kangaroos that didn't, as Robinson, handball over the top, loops it to Morgan beautifully, and from 50, Alex Morgan gets the Kangaroos on the board. Lovely play, and almost into time on, the Kangaroos have their first goal. They're 1-3-9, a much-needed steadier for them. Williamstown 3-2-20.
So their method is right. Get the ball out. It was a really good finish by Alex Morgan, but that play's streaming forward. And you see when you get that breeze, use it to advantage. That ball just sails through. So a really good sort of goal at this point. We're obviously late in the quarter, 20-minute mark. So a really important goal.
11-point ball game in favour of Williamstown. Campbell and Meese back into the ruck for their respective sides. Aaron Hall into the middle, lines up next to Willie Wheeler. Umpire puts down another great bounce. Good bouncing conditions today here at Downer Oval. Secondary ball up, this time it'll be thrown up. So I said 3 AFL listed umpires out there today. As the ball goes to ground level, Wheeler almost lost his feet. His kick was partially smothered. Scott, his kick down the line. It bounced nicely for Whitecross. Hand pass over the top. Kangaroos looking to attack once more. Under some pressure here. Holmes, good tackle. Charleston holding the ball. Free kick, Seagulls. Explain the nickname, Stoney.
Which one?
Charleston.
It's a dance. Those people who know their ballroom dancing, the Charleston is a famous dance.
Did you know that?
You asked for it.
I did not know that. Mark Stone teaching us new things every week.
Kick down the line, centre wing, right in front of Mark Stone. Hand pass missed by Meese. Leonardus ends up collecting it for North Melbourne. Hurried handball in, board now to inside 50, and Hosey comes out. Can't take the mark, might have been pushed in the marking contest by Nick Singh. New number for Nick Singh this year. He's number 7 last year. He's gone up to 32. Ball up.
Last week, Hosey would have swallowed that, so that obviously coming quickly, and he had the speed to get in front there.
It was very impressive on North Melbourne debut. Lockie Hosey, 3 goals 2 in that win over the Tigers. Called right here on VFL Live. Here is Singh. That's wide. Almost thrown his ball out of bounds on the full. It just hit the top of the Williamstown bench there. Andy Collins could have marked that one.
So that's the breeze.
So Kangaroo free kick just forward of centre wing. They're going to pump it long inside 50. Hosey had his run impeded. Almost a big mark taken by Masters. Ugle at ground level. Gives it off to Holmes. Now a chance for Scott. And the Kangaroos have their second. Great work at ground level. Bailey Scott finishes. And North Melbourne settling in to the conditions here at Downer Oval.
Just Bailey Scott, really classy goal, right spot. Young Ugle did some really good heavy work around the pack there, and Bailey Scott, there's some good young fellas for the North Melbourne team, and evident there with that goal from young Scott, who obviously Robert Scott's young fella, and carrying on the Kangaroo tradition.
2-3-15 now, the Kangaroos. They've steadied after a shaky start. Williamstown 3-2-20 after 22 and a half minutes.
Goal to Charlie Cameron for the Brisbane Lions. They're having a good day. The roof open at Marvel Stadium, 4-3, 27-3 behind. AFL app, by the way, has him as Charles Cameron, which I've never heard ever.
Might be his real name.
Was there a 666 warning there potentially, Stoney?
It possibly was.
So I heard a whistle and the umpire took a while to get play restarted.
Do you reckon that in the future they'll say it's going to be a free kick?
Straight away?
Straight away?
Yeah.
Was that too harsh?
No, well, it's an easy thing to get set up, Stoney. I don't understand why it's so hard to get a 6-6-6 formation in place when you've got at least a good 30 seconds after a goal to make sure you get that done. We're inside 50 here for the Seagulls. There was a slip, though, and we have a high contact free kick.
Bit stiff, the North Melbourne player there. Slipped over, or the Williamstown player, but he got a free kick.
Yeah, Nick Mellington. Little left foot in toward the pocket for Donnell. Had to jump for it. No mark taken. And what's the umpire said here? There's a whistle. Boundary umpire saying went out of play, I think.
Non-officiant umpire
free kick.
Said in the back. He called it from centre half forward. He's seen the contact.
I was watching the boundary umpire. So a free kick for Sam Donnell.
Now,
right into the breeze.
Sam Donnell is one of the only players who can kick this goal. I'm telling you now.
He's been an outstanding player since he lost his spot on the St Kilda list and come to Williamstown. Sam Donnell probably practices these ones at training every single week. It's going to land in the goal square and go through for a rush behind on this occasion. 3-4-22 Williamstown, North Melbourne 2-3-15. We're approaching quarter time on Hard Jacket. Totally Workwear VFL Live.
North Melbourne kick in. To be taken by Cunningham, and it's long up the line. Garner had it punched away from him, but at ground level, Hayden able to feed it out to Hall, and the Kangaroos can get moving. Hall had a fumble. Doesn't have anyone to kick to inside 50 though, and had a second fumble which he couldn't afford. Monk intercepted, but he's given it straight back. Now the Kangaroos can go inside 50. Hosey the target. Charleston did well to get a fist to it. Clever tap to keep it in. Here's Murphy, the Irishman. He kicks across his body, and it was ugly, but it was effective. Here comes Hayden on the half volley. Got around one, but not quite the second. Williamstown defence holding on for dear life, and they've turned it over. Chance for the Kangaroos through Garner. Gives it off to Murphy. Can blast away if he wants. Instead, pokes it towards a pocket. Looking for Hosey, but out of bounds on the full. The Breeze got a hold of that one. And Tippett to take the free kick.
Anybody with home ground revenge would know that Bruce is going to take that over the boundary line. Sorry, Adam.
So Brisbane's now really inflicting the damage on Carlton at Marble Stadium as Lockie Neal kicks another one for the Lions. Ball's going to slip out of play. El Jefe will be enjoying that news as he wakes up in Paris, Stoney.
He will be, actually. I was going to ask you about the crowds. Did you notice the crowds at the Ash Barty game last night weren't big? I don't know what the story is. I'm going to find that out.
We had Fedal in a major semi-final and it was half empty, Stoney.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it, so I'm going to find out why.
I think we need to talk to El Jefe about that. So we go towards half forward. I reckon you'll like being called that, Stoney, by the way. Jansen has it inside defensive 50 for North Melbourne. I've got a feeling he won't. Maybe he will. I don't know. He's a hard man to read sometimes. Claimed back, but hacked forward by Hibbert. Does work out in the end because it got the kind bounce. Mark on. Rushed high ball inside 50. Good luck marking it. Donnell tried to, though. At the 4, Watson. Interesting ball for Rover. North Melbourne just dancing with danger. That ball's going to carry over the back of the contest. Tippett's in the foot race, beaten to it though by Hosey, who almost got a coat hanging, and a free kick for North Melbourne. Hosey too far out to score. Sends the Kangaroos inside 50. Murphy to target, decided to let it fall at the back. Now here is Charleston. Has scored it out of play. Don't know if that was the Charleston move that Bailey Scott tried on him. Boundary throw in. Is it a move or an actual? Is it like the waltz?
It's actually like the waltz. Correct.
Okay.
Look it up. Google it. You'll have a look.
I'm not sure I'm that interested.
Okay.
Ball spins back into play. Handball over the top came from Hunt. Strange scenes here. Hard Yakka totally work where VFL Live is the free kick's being given to Robinson. Ugle calling for it over the top. He won't get it. Difficult spot from which to have a shot at goal for Dan Robinson. He'll kick from about 50, right up against the boundary, and he just sends it to the hot spot. Campbell there. Got a hands to it. Rovat tracking it at ground level, eventually picks it up. Quick snap. Touched off the boot, and it was taken by Myers for Williamstown, and he just gets it out of there, but a big fly. Big mark. Not quite taken. It hasn't been paid. It has. It was Whitecross getting up. How about the old man compared to most of his teammates, 29 years old. The oldest player out there for North Melbourne this afternoon takes an absolute ripper.
Apologies if there's any interference coming through. Should be okay now.
He looks set to have a shot at goal, Whitecross. This kick will challenge him. It's going to land in the goal square. Campbell hands to it. And then also getting hands to it afterwards was Hunt for Williamstown, and he sees it over the line for a rush behind. 2-4-16 now, the Kangaroos trailing Williamstown by 5 points.
Jack Charleston, Williamstown vice captain. Short chip in the pocket. Greiser takes the mark. Such a solidly built player is Jake Greiser. Down the line he goes, and that's going to be fisted out of play by Lee Masters right near the Williamstown bench. What's the setup for Andy Collins today, Stoney?
Yeah, he's got the earpiece in, standing on the boundary.
Is it the wireless AirPods, or is it just...
No, he's got the wireless AirPods like you carry with.
Yes, boundary throw in. Meese just grabbed it from the ruck, hacked it towards half forward. Now we've got a foot race. Still inside the centre square. Morgan picks up for North Melbourne. Hand pass off, trying to work his way through was Garner. Inside 50, and Tippett gets in front of Rovat and picks off another one. A couple of intercept marks for the Seagulls in this opening term. They do lead it by 5 points as scoring has dried up over the last 5 minutes or so, and that ball carries out of bounds on the full. Almost smashes in a windscreen, and a free kick to be taken for the Kangaroos. Jansen inside 50, nice pass for Campbell.
This will be a tough kick too. So obviously they're looking at it from my perspective. I'm right behind this, so right-hand goalpost will do it nicely. But it's about, what is he, 48, 45?
Yeah, he'll kick from probably 48 metres out, I'd say.
Tough kick.
So this will give North Melbourne the lead.
Siren.
There's the quarter-time siren. Tom Campbell, the plant foot was right on 50. Kicks on the way, missing near side. And at quarter time, it's North Melbourne 2-5-17, trailing Williamstown 3-3. 21, Michael Peppicelli has some goal kickers for us.
Certainly do, Adam. For the Seagulls, Adam Marcon has a couple and Sam Donnell has the only other one. And for North Melbourne, all singles, Bailey Scott and Alex Morgan, the 2 goal kickers.
So quarter time, we'll take our break here on SEN2 and VFL.com.au. Williamstown 3-3-21, North Melbourne 2-5-17. We'll be back with the second term right after this.
Nature's an amazing place. It's a perfect balancing act, thriving with life. Some of which we don't even see. Like the billions of microorganisms that help keep nature in balance. At Swiss, the quest continues.
At Totally Workwear, we kit out the brickies, the chippies, the foremen, the tradies. Did we say foremen? They're not all men, some are ladies. Yes! Work in an office, retail, healthcare, hospitality. Here's where you'll find all your workwear. Yeah, totally. Totally Workwear have got you covered with the best brands, best value and best service. Totally Workwear. Get what you want and get back to work.
Totally Workwear.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 1116 SEN.
But it's your job. We'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Live on SEN2 DAB+.
I'm a digital radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
Where you go?
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer
or check out digitalradioplus.com.au
and upgrade to digital.
Your Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL Club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coaches' huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Stuart Appleby has come from 7 strokes behind.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
A perfect winter's day at Downer Oval, quarter time in this round 10 clash in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. It is Williamstown 3-3-21, North Melbourne 2-5-17. If you're watching on VFL.com.au, you can see the goal kickers there. Adam Marcon has 2 for the Seagulls. Sam Donnell has the other one. Alex Morgan, Bailey Scott, your goal kickers for the North Melbourne Football Club. Adam Sarikoglu, Michael Pepicelli, our man Mark Stone is in the huddles as we speak. I suspect, I'm not going to guess which one he's in, but we'll get either Dave Loader or Andy Collins out of the huddles. We've got a couple of stats here, Michael, that we can take a look at thanks to the VFL app. And it does look like some of the individual numbers might be faint. Well, they're not just pretty break even now. It was the Seagulls who enjoyed the better of play in the first half of that first quarter, but North Melbourne did end it very well.
Yeah, as you said, Adam, the Kangaroos really did settle in, perhaps after the 10 to 15 minute mark of that opening term. They have had fewer disposals, but they've had more tackles and also 5 more inside 50s, 17 of those to 12 for the Seagulls. They've also had more scoring shots. It's just they've been a little bit inaccurate as they've found it a little bit difficult to negotiate that breeze. 2-5-17, obviously, with Williamstown sitting on 3-3-21, so just a little bit more efficient when having shots for goal. The Seagulls. And from a Williamstown point of view, John Tippett, their leading disposal winner on the ground. He has 9. He's tied with Paul Ahern, who's just a ball magnet, as we know. Picked up 33 disposals last week, and he's just picked up right where he left off with 9 disposals in that opening term. Other Seagulls to get plenty of the footy include Willie Wheeler with 8, and Mitch Hibbert and Adam Markon have 7 apiece. Markon, of course, kicking the 2 goals in that opening term. And for North Melbourne, Joel Crocker has 8 disposals, and Aaron Hall and Tom Murphy with 5 apiece for the Kangaroos.
Around the ground, 6-4-40 Brisbane over Carlton, 1-3-9. North Melbourne huddle has broken up.
First 15 minutes, the boys couldn't get their hands on the footy. Williamstown were really tough around the contest.
Yeah, we sort of expected nothing less, Stoney, but Willie are always really strong in that area, and they certainly showed that in the first, like you said, 15 or 18 minutes. And then I thought we probably wrestled it back a little bit. We started playing a little bit more to our brand and looked a little bit better in the last 10 minutes.
Last week was a great effort, obviously, for the whole 4 quarters. What did you say at quarter time to the boys, trying in the second quarter, the start of it?
I think it's just to get back to the style of footy we want to play, mate. It's great. Last week was a terrific game, but that was last week, so we want to try and follow up this week and get a result again. So we've got a fair bit of work in front of us here at the minute, but so far it's been okay, mate.
Thanks, champ.
That was Stoney with North Melbourne coach David Loader. As the players reset, the last of the spectators making their way off the ground. Carlton has their second goal, and a very familiar name, Mark Stone, to these Seagull supporters, Michael Gibbons.
Who's that?
Michael Gibbons kicking the goal for the Blues. In fact, they've just got another one as well, I think. They might have got back-to-back goals here, Lockie O'Brien. So Blues making a small comeback against the Lions. Second term underway. Here's Michael Pepicelli.
Hall wins a clearance for North Melbourne, shoots it out to Ahern, and now Cunningham. Handball a little bit too far out in front of Campbell. Meese there to track it down, but Campbell still burrowing in, and now plenty of players around it. That ball not coming out, will get a ball up. Speak about Michael Gibbons, Adams. There has been a fair talent drain from this Williamstown footy club, especially last year with Lockie Schultz, Brett Bewley, both being drafted to Fremantle, Gibbons as well. So Andy Collins is doing a good coaching job to have this side sitting inside the top 8, given all that talent lost over the last year.
Kane Lambert as well.
Kane Lambert also. As Seagulls just tracking it here at ground level. Eventually Mellington has to come in and lay the tackle. And we'll get a ball up. Left half forward for the Seagulls. As Campbell and Meese go at it, 2 of the best ruckmen in the VFL. Handball over the head from Martin was okay for Hibberd, and now hurried kick inside 50. Morrison in the one-on-one with Donnell did well just to get a little hand on it, and out of play it goes. Seagulls lead it by 4 points, 90 seconds into this second term. It's Meese, good body work to gain front position. Into the path of Myers, he can give it off. And Hibberd's shot at goal, smothered. Great, desperate stuff. Might have been Harry Mackay getting his hands to that one. Ben Mackay, in fact. Harry's out there at Marvel Stadium. Ben got his hands on that one. Had a couple of great defensive efforts last week. As we have a 50-metre penalty here from the kick-in. Morrison to take it on defensive 50.
He'll take it from true centre-half back. Throws it onto the left and goes towards right half forward. No mark was taken, ground level, hand pass came out, now Donnell. That ball's fisted away by Tom Murphy, boundary throw in.
Really got a touch there, gents, but good defence. You see North Melbourne really having a crack this quarter. Aaron Hall was off the ground too, just a quarter time, bit of treatment on the leg, but back on the ground now.
Beautiful day. Point Jellybrand. Umpire brings this one back in. It fell into the lap of Campbell. Then it bounced up in front of him. The second tap ended up being effective. Hunt's hand pass. Seagull. That ball's gone out of play as the Seagulls did try to attack through Braden Monk.
Free kick to Monk, I think it'll be. Hang on a minute.
There he's got a touch. Stoney. That was shocking. Was that caught on camera? I think it was.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was Stoney.
No, it wasn't.
That was
trying to do three things at one time here.
Just if you're watching on YouTube via VFL.com.au, just rewind about 10 seconds and we might actually get a replay up potentially. Just right of frame.
Terrible.
Stoney, not great. Oh, big fly. No mark was taken though. The fly was coming by Mitch Hibbard. Didn't bring it down. Ball up. Left half forward here for the Seagulls. They're leading by 5 points. Meese with another hit out. He's the hit out king, we know that. Donnell, standing start, sends the Seagulls into attack. Ryder, well, he did get to the contest in time, but he was maybe pushed out of it in the end. Morrison, left foot, clears 50, high ball. Campbell underneath this one, just went over his head in the end. Hunt's handball to the voice was good. Umpire said there was a hold. It might have been in back play. Free kick for the Seagulls. It's going to be taken by Liam Hunt. Played some very good football at Coburg. Now a Seagull. Inside 50 we go. Donnell was unmarked. And it was an uncontested mark in the end, although the umpires come downfield and said high contact and a free kick. Which way is it going? It's going to be a 50-metre penalty for the Williamstown Football Club, and Donnell, for the second time today, can kick one from point-blank range. This will be his 8th disposal. An 11th goal for the season. Sam Donnell. Seagulls by 11. 4-4, 28 to 2-5, 17 on Hardjacker Totally Workwear VFL Live early in the second term. Nearly 5 minutes gone.
You can't allow those sort of goals, especially when you're on a bit of a roll, the North Melbourne side, and to give a free kick and then kick a goal is not a good thing, but a good start for the Woolly Tide with the breeze.
Stoney, Lewis Cunningham's just run off the ground. He looked a little bit groggy after a big collision right in front of our broadcast position, in fact. So he might just be getting a little bit of a examination at the moment. Struggling to get to his feet at one stage, so maybe a concussion evaluation to come for him. We know Stoney will keep an eye on that for us. Back in the middle. Meese won it down, but straight to Ahern, who was eventually dispossessed. Plenty of numbers burrowing in there. Marcon as well as Hibbard for the Seagulls fighting the good fight. And eventually the umpire intervenes. And we've got a free kick here. It's going to be a Tarvi's ball. Morrison just gave him a little tiny punch across the arm, and we know the umpires are cracking down on that kind of thing in season 2019. Unfortunately for Morrison, umpire saw it, and Atavi's going to take the free kick. He'll kick from about 30 metres out, slight angle. This would give the Seagulls a couple in a row to start the second term, and it will extend the lead to 17 points. In he comes, and he makes no mistake. Atavi gets his first, and Williamstown moves to 5-4-34. North Melbourne still sitting on 2-5-17. That was their quarter time score.
Yeah, again, there's those free kicks that just going to cost you so dearly. Discipline side and push them in the chest, and obviously the umpire's seen that happen. High contact is a free kick every day of the week.
So that's 2 goals from 50-metre penalties now for the Seagulls, and 1 from an off-the-ball free kick. David Loader must be tearing his hair out at ground level. He can't be too happy with what he's seeing so far.
No, he wouldn't be, not at all. I mean, it's hard enough as with the breeze or against the breeze, and those free kicks are they're worth 2 goals, 3 goals sometimes.
Williamstown have now doubled North Melbourne's score, 34 to 17. Ahern going nowhere. It's Leonardis. Ball up. Meeks. Ball up did favour him. Ball's overrun by Ogle. Now at the back, Donnell another touch. His kick down the line. Diving slips catch. Was taken very nicely by Pickus. Runs inboard. Helicopter inside 50. Just dipped on Murphy that time. Latavi comes in. Strong tackle. Ball up right in front of us. Left full pocket for the Seagulls, up by 17 points. Will be in the top 4 tonight if they win today. Here's Wheeler onto the right. Another one for Williamstown. 6-4-40 to 2-5-17. 8 minutes into the second term.
Really squared that round the goals. He's just ever dangerous and right spot, right time, and on the end of that one, and 6 points. Good goal.
That's his 4th of the season. Again, just having trouble with Stoney's mic, I think.
The breeze, my friend.
We'll blame it on the breeze. Brisbane by 19 around the grounds against Carlton. That one is approaching half-time.
He's having a good game is Willie Wheeler. That was his 9th disposal and his first goal of the afternoon. Seagulls lead it by 23 points. Travelled 9 minutes in this second term.
Also got to get a goal. They must get a goal against this breeze.
So there it is. Stoney says the Kangaroos need to get one soon, but Rodder wins the clearance for Williamstown. Couldn't quite be marked by Henderson, and now Morrison for North Melbourne able to clear. Hall will run onto it. Gets there after a couple of bounces. It's corralled by Wheeler, then just goes with the little left foot poke towards half forward. Perhaps he knew what he was doing because he gets it back. Then he runs himself into trouble. Had no other option but to handball to Campbell. Eventually he's able to pick it up, the big fella. Now, but the Williamstown cavalry comes in and forces a halt to the forward ball movement for North Melbourne. We'll get a ball up right near centre half forward. Campbell following up his work. Couldn't quite muscle it forward, and now a chance for Williamstown to clear. Mark taken by Henderson. He's led a long way up the ground. First game since round 4 for Darby Henderson. Had a quiet opening term, and that kick wasn't a great one either. Intercepted by Mackay. Just short of centre wing from a North Melbourne perspective. Pops it high, and the ball carries a little bit in the breeze, but all Williamstown, and the mark is taken. It's a man in the middle of the ground leading. It's Donnell, strong above his head, but punched away from him by Murphy. Now a chance for Williamstown. Here comes Charleston, runs to about 45 and finishes beautifully. Seagulls having it all their way in the second term. Their lead now out to 29 points. They're 7-4-46. North Melbourne 2-5-17, yet to score in this second term.
Looks like Stoney that the Kangaroos didn't score enough runs in that first innings.
Yeah, you're right about that. But just their efficiency, Williamstown, the way they move the ball, they know exactly what each other's going to do. Their efficient game plan. They know this ground really well. Just Charleston allowed to run off half-back and kick a goal, and just it's just all so easy for them at this ground.
So the Towners, the town, doing a number on the Kangaroos. Saw another team earlier today in blue and gold called the Town that didn't do so well, Michael. In the NBA Finals, back live here. Kyron Hayden wrapped up. Sherry couldn't get his kick away. Umpire might have been blindsided there because there was definitely no boot to ball. Scott wrapped up in the tackle.
Holding the ball.
This time it is holding the ball and a free kick for the Seagulls.
That team in blue and gold, Adam, was thwarted by a team from the north. We've got happening in reverse here this afternoon.
I knew you would continue the punt. We go wide. Greiser.
How's that series going, by the way, gents?
Toronto leading 3-1.
So Greiser goes all the way back to Lee Masters. I can report as well, Stoney, a full crowd. Unlike what we saw at Roland Garros. Better be a good crowd tonight for Ash Barty's final, as we see Leonardo skiff off the handball. Kangaroos desperately need a goal, and they do get one. The goal is kicked by Taylor Garner.
And they're giving Mitch Hibbert a couple of good ones too. Obviously a former North Melbourne player, and a really much needed goal, that one.
Half-time Marvel Stadium, Carlton 3-4-22, Brisbane 6-4-40.
Need to be careful there talking to Mitch Hibbert. He can always just direct them to the scoreboard. Probably best to save that one until they're in front.
I like that. Look at the scoreboard. Go on to the schoolyard and stuff. That's good.
We're very mature here on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. You know that, Stoney?
We are, most definitely.
So 7-4 plays 3-5. North Melbourne gets a badly needed goal 13 minutes into this second term. They'd love to get another quick one, but Meese has other plans. Taken by Sherry, holding the footy. Thought about the advantage, did Rovat, but eventually the umpire called him back. It's going to be Sherry's ball just forward of the centre circles, and he just pumps it long to the hot spot and hopes for the best. Off hands. Williamstown getting plenty of numbers back. One of those is the former Kangaroo and Hibbert. He shoots it out to Masters, tried to get a kick away, but couldn't make any contact with his boot. And that was probably lucky in the end because he was right on the boundary line. I dare say that kick might have travelled out of bounds on the full. But instead, we have a boundary throw in. Still inside forward 50 for North Melbourne. Round 10 action, Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. We hope you're enjoying the coverage. We're certainly enjoying bringing it to you. We have a great view of the Melbourne City skyline, Adam. Port Phillip Bay as well. Looking majestic on an early June day in Melbourne.
Another goal here would be really, really good.
Stoppage at right half forward for the Kangaroos. Clearing handball came away for Williamstown, but only as far as Ugle, who's taken immediately. Late inclusion today, Joseph Ugle. He's come across from the waffle. And he's their 23rd player this afternoon. This Sherry gave away a free kick in the ruck, and now a chance for Williamstown to go forward. They take advantage, ball towards left half forward. Rodder jumped up to meet it and just able to palm it out of play without looking too conspicuous. We'll get a boundary throw in.
Round Jacker on Hard Jacker. What was I saying there?
I have no idea what you were trying to say there.
Rounds 11 on Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL Live next week. Northern Blues taking on Footscray at Icon Park. An early start, that one. Glen Hill back on boundary for that one. We look forward to that as the kick comes towards centre wing. It was well picked up by Holmes. Hayden, Hosey. Long way from home though. Hand pass off to Scott. Then went wide. It was an empty 50 and it was a good kick to Leonardis. He'll chip over the top. That might be a
50.
Yep.
That was against
encroachment on the mark and advantage. You can't pay advantage from a 50. So it's going to be a free kick at the top of the square. Encroachment on the mark, Stoney?
Yeah, it was actually Lee Masters following Ugle down and encroached on the mark.
So Tyrone Leonardis will most likely kick a goal here for the Kangaroos. He does. 17 points once more, 7-4-46 to 4-5, 29-16 gone second term.
When North Melbourne get their game going, when they're flowing, you can see that their game plan is really efficient. But around the packs, they just have to really stop going to sleep because it's cost them every time that they go to sleep. Williamstown just take the ball and kick a goal. So it's about the concentration levels. You've seen it. I just spoke to David later at quarter time. Just in this competition, it cannot afford to lapse because sides they'll kill you, especially the Williamstown Footy Club.
So that's 2 straight goals for North Melbourne, and after a poor start to this second term, they've just been able to work their way back into the contest. And margin got out to 29 points only about 5 or so minutes ago. From the restart, neither ruckman got a hand to it. Umpire calls play on. Eventually muscled towards half forward by the Seagulls. Mellington over the top of it, and that's where we'll get a stoppage. 60 metres out from the Williamstown goal. They lead it by 17 points. Clearance off the boot of Hibbard. Kennedy just couldn't quite handle it. Rodder took down an opponent, perhaps illegally. Kennedy tries a miracle banana. And that one ended up moving away from the goal. Mackay takes the relieving mark for North Melbourne. Goes in short to Watson. Last line of defence.
Seemed to hold up as it approached the goal face, that kick on goal from Kennedy. As Morgan looking for Campbell. It's going to bounce back in toward Watson's direction. Gives off the handball. Robinson gets the 1-2 from Ahern, who is the leading ball getter on the ground. Up to 12 now is Ahern. It's Holmes who sends the Kangaroos into attack, looking for Garner. It did bounce his way eventually. Goes inside 50. Tippett regains it for the Seagulls. Heavy contact there with Ugle. Ball eventually coming out. Now Holmes has a shot. Kangaroos are fighting back. 5-5, 35 to 7-4, 46, 18 gone, second term.
Very good play by Nash Holmes. It followed the ball up and was at the end of that goal, but just hard work got him that goal, and hard work gets a lot of results in life and footy, and a good result for the Kangaroos.
3 in a row now for the Kangaroos. And just when things looked like they were going to blow out, North Melbourne fights back. Of course, they've had a good last month, despite their lowly position on the ladder. Won 2 out of their last 3 games, with the bye mixed in there as well. Of course, we were there to call that game against Richmond last week. And they looked mighty impressive that day, did the Kangaroos, and they're digging in this second term, having a real crack at another top 8 team. Back in the middle. We'll get another stoppage as Wheeler is wrapped up. Rucks go at it again. Meese got it down, but Campbell ended up with the footy. Clearing kick out wide. It's going to be a foot race. Bounce beat everyone though. Garner got first hands to it, but couldn't handle it cleanly. Now a chance for North Melbourne. They're really rolling at the moment. Inside forward 50 laterally. Handball over the top, comes out to Jansen. Had time to slip. Sends a ball towards the pocket. Big fly at the back from Garner. Did nothing but get his knee into the back, and a good, courageous mark taken for Williamstown. Nick Singh, the man who took it.
So a 50-metre penalty to go with that. Fair enough. It was a really sloppy attempt at the mark. There's a bit going on after all of that as well, inside 50. So Singh plays on, and he's kicked for Donnell, slipped through the hands. Mackay gets it back for North Melbourne. Loose Kangaroo at half forward. Look at the space here. The kick took a long time to arrive, but finally it did. Ahern takes the mark. Mark took a while. Gets on with it. In fact, it's Hosey. Inside 50 once more for the Kangaroos. No mark was taken. They are lifting though. The ball's cleared away by Greiser. Ebinger underneath it. Takes a nice mark for the Seagulls. Game lifting in tempo at the moment. Ebinger's kick inside 50, looking for mark on. Out the back is Nick Rodder, and they get one back. The Towners. 8-4-52. They raise the bat. 5-5-35 North Melbourne into time on of the second term.
Hasn't had much influence on the game, Nick Rodder, but in the right place again, and just you've got to watch out these Williamstown. See that little indiscretion down in the back line there. Took the ball down, and really important goal at the 21-minute mark.
That's 5 goals to 3 in this second term, Williamstown's way.
Came into this game the equal leading goal kicker for the Seagulls, did Nick Rodder, despite only playing 5 games for the season. And perhaps a bit of luck that he is back in, because their other equal leading goal kicker, Jalen Thorpe, are laid out for this contest. Those two have both kicked 12 goals. And Rodder able to sneak through his first of the afternoon and restore the Williamstown lead to 17 points. Back in the middle, Campbell battling hard, had 3 Seagulls hanging off him. Umpire picked out a free. Campbell wants to take the advantage. Curious decision to go out wide to Hosey, but it's going to work out okay. Robinson with the sizzling pass inside forward 50, and the mark is taken for North Melbourne by Hosey.
There's the kick. That was Daniel Robinson with a kick. It's unbelievable.
It certainly was. Displayed plenty of those skills throughout his 6 years as a member of the Sydney Swans, did Dan Robinson, as Hosey comes in from a tight angle He makes it look easy. Margin back to 11 points. Lockie Hosey gets his first of the afternoon. He's leading the Sandford goal kicking this time last week, Adam, but he's kicked 4 goals in 6 quarters as a member of the Kangaroos.
Just football people will tell you that is a very hard shot at goal. And for a bloke to come here, never seen this ground probably in Bear, but before, he's got that one right through the middle. Good use of the breeze too.
May have been leading the Sandford goal kicking, but if he keeps going at this rate and he stays in the VFL team, he might win the Frosty. Back in the middle. Another great bounce. Campbell. It was against Otavi in the ruck that time. Ball eventually hacked forward by Andrews, the 23rd man today for the Seagulls, inside 50. Mackay had a lot of Seagulls around him. Bounced away from Hall. Now to Campbell. Now Morgan, nice tackle by Wheeler. Campbell, Otavi worries him out of that one. Hall with the tackle, high. Free kick, could have been in the back. Either way, a free kick to be taken here for the Seagulls by Mitch Hibbert. On true centre wing, base side of the ground. We go inside 50, Rodder. Mackay lost his feet, did Ebinger. Right across the big fist, actually found the teammate. Campbell fumbled. Wheeler had it and lost it. Gets Ahern, hand pass over the top. Sloppy footy here at the moment. Hard contested footy, there's a hold. And we're back where we started with a free kick.
That was it.
For the Seagulls to be taken by Hibbert, just like it was moments earlier.
Former Kangaroo, of course. Campbell just getting into his back. Runs quickly and wheels onto that right boot. Plenty of numbers in the goal square. It might go all the way. It does. Much needed goal for Williamstown. Comes from the boot of Mitch Hibbert. 9-4-58 now, the Seagulls. North Melbourne 6-5-41. The kick was an absolute mongrel, but the breeze got a hold of it, and it went through.
He knew exactly what he was doing too. He had a look before he had a crack, played on, moved on, and from that distance, he can kick that distance, no problem.
Goal number 4 for the season for Mitch Hibbert, averaging 22.8 disposals per game in his first season as a Seagull.
Speaking of the Frosty Miller medal, Stoney, of course, North Melbourne had the winner last year there in our man Suvalaki. He kicked 41 for the Kangaroos in the VFL last year. We have a 666 infringement.
So there you go. There's the first time. Now, why is that a free kick now?
Must be a second warning.
Remember, we thought there was a warning in the first quarter,
so
Stoney?
Second warning is a goal, as a kick, that's right.
So Williamstown free kick. Helicopter ball inside 50. Out the back are a couple of Kangaroos. One of them is Mackay, who's more than happy to see that go through for a rush behind.
So that's fair enough. If you ever get one warning, then there's a free kick the next time. No doubt, no problem with that.
One of those ones, though, where a player was coming from the interchange and was desperately trying to get inside 50 by the time that he needed to, and maybe there should be a little bit of leniency there.
Horses for courses.
Kick toward this near side of the ground. It's Campbell that emerges with the pill. And a lovely kick towards half forward.
Oh, there it is again.
Hosey over the top. Nice ball for Scott. That wind looks like it's picking up a bit, Stoney. That flag next to you is really whipping in the breeze at the moment. Inboard we go. Murphy. It's Tom Murphy who sends it inside 50. That's a good fly. And a very, very good mark taken down there. Looks like it's Aaron Hall. We'll have a shot for the Kangaroos. Played well last week at Arden Street against Richmond. Has 5 goals for his year and he's averaging 23 per game. That's disposals. Shouldn't miss and does. Breeze took that a long way.
Should have kicked that one. He should have kicked through the ball, really.
There was a lot of left to right with the kick. So it's 6-6-42 to 9-5-59. We're approaching half-time on Hard Jacket. Totally Workwear VFL Live. We'll hear from the Northern Blues captain Tom Wilson in our half-time break on the VFL Hour. So we'll have that coming up during the break. We'll also have a look at some stat leaders as well. Leonardis goes inside 50 again for the Kangaroos. Ball's bounced backwards there. And we have a ball up in the forward pocket.
27 minutes gone, second term. 6 goals to 4 in favour of the Seagulls in this second term. It's been a high-scoring quarter. Williamstown lead it by 17 points. Pulled off his kick was Jansen for North Melbourne. Seagulls able to clear the danger. Atavi kept his feet where Mackay didn't. Got to the ball and kicked a high up and under towards centre wing. Good luck marking that one. No one did. Kennedy read it off hands. And it's going to be a free kick Williamstown's way. Mellington, the man to take it. Just short of centre wing.
28 minutes gone.
A little bit of a delay getting the footy back to him. Allows the North Melbourne defenders to get back en masse. And we're just waiting for Mellington to get back behind his mark and ready to go. The man on the mark is standing almost a centre wing, and Mellington's almost a defensive 50. He's given himself a lot of space to go if he wants, and that's what he does. Kick read by no one.
Free kick, Tom Campbell.
Stoney picked it, holding free kick to Campbell. Right in front of our man on the boundary. Kick is almost well weighted for Hosey, but not quite.
As Dennis would say, cinematic perfect.
Stoney, this game's devolved into nothing in the last 7 or 8 minutes.
Both sides have an eye on the clock, that's why.
A lot of fumbling and just not great footy right now.
A goal before half-time would do wonders for either side as Campbell thumps it out of the air towards the boundary line. Leonardus first to it. Has a couple of Seagulls for close company. Ball stays in, but it's locked in.
And what's funny, Stoney, is that we've had 6 goals to 5 in the quarter, so we've actually had a very good quarter of football, but the ending of it has just been not great.
It might be one that goes longer than 31, 32 minutes as well, so still a little bit of time for both sides to get going offensively if they so desire. Doesn't seem they do at the moment as Martin has the free kick. Called to move on. And he just hoists it high up the line. Rudder from 3 deep.
North Melbourne kick.
Not able to take the mark.
Williamstown.
And free kick paid against Mackay for a block.
So Hibbert's got the kick, I reckon.
Leading disposal winner on the ground is Mitch Hibbert. He has 14 to go along with a goal. He's having an impact in this game. Perhaps a little bit of a revenge game as well for Mitch Hibbert. Sends it long towards a pocket of Tavi. Gets up and takes the mark from 3 deep.
Just what the game needed, Stoney. A nice little highlight.
Yeah, it did. Not a bad mark either from the young fella.
Had a great game in the ruck last week, did Joel Atavi, in the absence of Nick Meese. 8 disposals, 6 tackles, 27 hitouts and a goal.
So right-hand goalpost, you've got to kick it hard because the boys will grab this.
Kicked a goal in the opening term, did Joel Atavi. In fact, earlier this term it was. He comes in from about 30 metres out. He does exactly what Stoney says. Starts it right and brings it back to perfection. Big goal on the stroke of half-time for Williamstown. Their lead is out to 23 points. 10-5, 65, plays 6-6, 42.
Bit happening off the footy, boys. Just a bit of conversation about how you do. Lovely.
It's been an entertaining quarter for the most part anyway. And that is now 7 goals to 5 that we have seen after 5 goals combined in the opening term. This is the only game taking place in the VFL earlier today. The Tigers by 23 over the Cats at the Swinburne Centre. 3 more games coming up tomorrow. 6 teams on a bye. Roughly 6 anyway. As the kick goes towards half forward, Pickus takes the mark for the Seagulls. An underground ball inside 50. Hard one to pick up for Kennedy. Bumped out of it in the end. The hand pass comes out wide. Seagulls have plenty of numbers. Holding on to it was Pickus. And 2 in a minute for the Towners. A great finish, 11-5, 71. North Melbourne now stuck on 6-6, 42. 32 minutes into the second term, and there is a Seagull down, requiring some attention. think it's just on camera. Well, was on camera there for a moment, but what a finish by Pickus, as we see.
Ben Kennedy's the man.
Yep. He's making his way off the ground now.
You can see on the replay if you're watching us on VFL.com.au, just received a fair bump, but it was a little bit late and he might not have been expecting it, Kennedy, after he gave off the handball. That's why he's making his way off the ground as we speak. So it's been an 8-goal quarter for Williamstown compared to 4 for North Melbourne as Meese flicks it over his head. The hit out, but it was all Kangaroos there. We'll get another stoppage.
So now we're going 33 minutes, so let's see how long this quarter goes for.
It is a big home ground advantage here for the Seagulls at Downer Oval as Hall gives a handball out under extreme pressure to Campbell. Robinson runs onto his kick, sends it inside forward 50. It's a little bit of a grubber, but the mark is taken inside forward 50 for the Kangaroos by Holmes.
Now this one's a left-hand goalpost. Now Nash is a really good kick of goal. We'll see how we go.
He's a very good player, is Nash Holmes. 22 years old. He's considered to be one of the leaders of this North Melbourne VFL side. As he comes in, he'll kick from about 35 metres out. He keeps it low. Started a bit too far left. Doesn't even make the distance. Williamstown defenders all around this ball, and eventually it's cleared. But it's coming straight back. The mark taken by Murphy.
Got to get in quick, boys. The siren will be imminent.
I think he wants to have a shot.
How is he, 50 out? What he's on the 50?
The mark is at 55.
55. Good luck.
So he's going to send it to the top of the square. It wasn't a shot in the end. Sherry's down there. That's a very, very good mark taken at the back by Joel Otavi.
Puts the ball in the air because I know it's time on period.
Very long quarter this one. We're in the 35th minute. Rodder doesn't bring it down. It's gone out of play at the hand of Adam Markle. I think we are next to the timekeepers, Peps. We might be able to get some sort of indication.
Just knock on the door and say to Croc, how long, Croc?
We are next to the timekeepers, so maybe we will get an indication soon. Ball comes in. Bounced away from Meese. Wrapped up his Hibbert.
Streaming live through VFL.
Apologies for that. A couple of technical difficulties as Mackay takes the relieving mark for North Melbourne. Inboard the ball comes. Jansen. It's only the second term, but it feels like we're in junk time at the moment. Jansen. Peps, how long left?
They're not allowed to tell me, Adam.
No, they won't tell you that. You can't do that.
You're the one that asked us, Tony.
Yeah, no, that, but home ground advantage.
All right, high ball. Stoney's told us to go ask. Croc in the box there, and he couldn't tell us. And Stoney knew that he couldn't tell us. Inside 50, and Pickus had an eternity of space. If that makes any sense, and the mark is taken.
Now it's 35 minutes and a half in this quarter. This goal is really, really valuable for the Willie side. It's just North Melbourne still in the game. This goal, I'll tell you what, it's going to be really, really important at the end of the game.
Almost 36 minutes gone now. Pickus has had a wonderful day so far. Kicked a great goal only a couple minutes ago. It's on its way. It's going to hold up in the breeze once more. Campbell slipped through his hands and Crocker sees it out of play, and this very long second term continues. As I said, Tom Wilson will be the halftime interview today on the VFL hour early in the week with Jack Everett. Umpire brings this in the forward pocket. Meese grabs it, snaps, and that's out of bounds on the full, and potentially landing on the tennis courts.
I wonder if there's a record for the longest quarter going in this quarter. 36 and a half.
And no major injuries or stretches coming out either.
Did we have some long quarters at the Swinburne Centre a couple of weeks ago, Michael?
That last one felt like a long one, Adam.
I reckon we had 4 quarters that went at least 33 plus that day.
Might have been because of how dramatic it was. I'm not too sure as Whitecross takes the free kick. Sherry got first hands to it, couldn't bring it down. Now a chance for North Melbourne if they don't run out of time. Rovat sends it towards the centre square and the mark taken by Murphy. Rovat kept running, has numbers streaming inside forward 50. One of those is Cunningham. He runs onto it and he's tackled just as the siren goes for half time. Late shot at goal was through, but it won't count. And at half time here at Downer Oval, it's Williamstown fresh off an 8-goal second term, leading at 11-5-71 to North Melbourne 6-6-42. A 29-point lead for the Seagulls heading into half-time.
Let's go through some goal kickers quickly. Sam Donnell has 2, Adam Marcon has 2, and Joel Atavi has 2 for the Seagulls. Singles to Hibbard, Rodder, Charleston, Pickus, and Willie Wheeler for North Melbourne. It is all singles. Taylor Garner, Bailey Scott, Lockie Hosey, Tyrone Leonardis, Alex Morgan, and Nash Holmes. What we're going to do, we're going to take a very quick break here, then we'll bring you some stats and then hear from Tom Wilson on the VFL Hour. It is half-time, 11-5-71. The Seagulls leading North Melbourne 6-6-42. We'll be back right after this.
At Totally Workwear, we kit out the brickies, the chippies, the foremen, the tradies. Did we say foremen? They're not all men, some are ladies. Yeah! Work in an office, retail, healthcare, hospitality? Here's where you'll find all your workwear. Yeah, totally. Totally Workwear have got you covered with the best brands, best value and best service. Totally Workwear. Get what you want and get back to work.
Totally Workwear. Nature's an amazing place. It's a perfect balancing act, thriving with life. Some of which we don't even see. Like the billions of microorganisms that help keep nature in balance. At Swiss, the quest continues.
Your hard yakka Totally Workwear VFL club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coaches' huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
I'm a digital radio.
And I'm a digital TV. Now, you may remember when TV went digital.
Yes, and you got a lot more channels and a better picture.
Well, buying a digital radio is the same.
Exactly. I've got up to 30 extra radio stations, plus all your old faves, and I sound amazing.
Yeah, but I look amazing.
Yeah, but this is a radio ad, so no one can see you.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to hear this station like you have never heard it before,
buy a digital radio.
Head into your nearest retailer and upgrade to digital.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 1116 SEN.
But it's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Live on SEN2 DAB+.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Looks to be the last game of the first set. Almagro leading 5-3.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
Half-time here at Downer Oval, 11-5-71, Williamstown leading North Melbourne 6-6-42. Shortly we'll go to our half-time interview, which was with Tom Wilson on the VFL Hour on 11:16 SEN. Adam Sarri-Coglu, Mark Stone and Michael Peppicelli. Very quickly, Michael, some of the stat leaders to half-time.
Thanks, Adam. So Mitch Hibbard, as we touched on throughout that second term, is the leading disposal winner on the ground. He has 16 to go along with a goal and also 6 tackles as well. Jake Greiser has 12 and Joel Tippett has 11 for the Seagulls. And from a North Melbourne point of view, Paul Ahern, the leading disposal winner with 14, while Joel Crocker and Aaron Hall have 11 each.
So let's... Stoney, quickly.
Just, has Sam Goodell scored a goal yet?
2. He's got 2.
So one more goal. Anthony Stangett's just sent me a message. I think it's one more goal will be his 200th VFL goal.
He is an outstanding player at this level. Let's go to our halftime interview. It's Tom Wilson chatting with Jack Heverin on the VFL Hour.
Get involved in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Visit vfl.com.au.
Big game coming up this weekend. The Battle of Bell Street always throws up some interesting scenarios.
Over 150 times this battle has occurred between the Preston Bull Ants and Coburg, and plenty of memories and history created between these two clubs, and great to see both clubs recognising that history and bringing back the Bull Ants jumper this week for the Northern Blues.
Unfortunately, we won't see Tom Wilson out there this weekend, the Northern Blues captain. He's out injured, unfortunately, but he'll be an interested onlooker like all of us on the weekend. Tommy, thanks for your time.
No worries, boys. Thanks for having me.
Big occasion for the club, this one, and as Anthony said, there's a lot of history attached to it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of people that have attached themselves to the Bull Ant jumper over the course of the club's history, and I think it's a terrific initiative by both clubs to wear their traditional jumpers in that facet. And I think it's really, really important that we acknowledge the past, and to see it come to light on Sunday will be terrific to see.
Tommy, it's a jumper you recognise well. You would have started in that jumper in your time at the Northern Blues?
Yeah, I did, yeah. So, we always wore it with pride, and I know Dennis Armfield actually got the Bull Ant tattooed on him. That's how much it meant to him. So,
come on, Dennis.
Yeah. So he's a different character then, but that's why we love him. And so that just sort of shows you how much it means to some people. And as I said, to see that come alive again on Sunday will be terrific to see.
We see a lot of changes to the playing list at VFL level now, so some of that history can be missed. Just tell us a bit about how the Northern Blues, obviously bringing back the Bull Ants jumper this weekend is part of it, but how some of the history is remembered within the Northern Blues of your Ray Shaws and players like this that have pulled on the Bull Ants jumper in the past.
Yeah, so we try and keep it alive on the inside of our current jumper. We've got, in quotation marks, Ant Spirit, which is probably one of our playing values, and it's probably there as a reminder as to, you say, the great players that have played for the club in the history. And also we have the emblem on our training bags, as well as around the club. We have different, acknowledgement boards as well. So we try and keep that history alive as much as we possibly can, to recognise. And as you say, with the player turnover that we have, it's really important that we educate and upskill not only on the game plan, but also the rich history of the footy club.
Tommy, you'd obviously be, in your position as captain, you would speak to people involved in the club, both present and also past. What does a game like this and what sort of memories does it invoke for some of the greats of the past at the club?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, every time you pulled on that Bull Ant jumper, there was a sense of pride, and especially playing out at Preston City Oval, the home of the Bull Ants, there was that extra spirit that we like to think's alive out there. And I think back to when I first started, there's blokes like Joe Dare and Adam Yakabuchi and Jared McCorkle, these types of fellas who absolutely love pulling on the jumper, and we wore it with pride as much as we possibly could. And every time we wore it, we knew that we were pulling on something pretty special.
Tommy, sad news in the last month with yourself suffering a ACL injury. Tell us a bit about your road to recovery and also your role with the club on the sidelines.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to work with the leadership group as much as I can and trying to support them in every way I can at the moment. And then on game day, just sitting on the bench and helping deliver the messages from Josh and the coaching staff. And just trying to be a voice and a sounding board for the players and seeing what they're feeling and seeing out on the field on game day. But in terms of my recovery, it's going okay. I'd love a good night's sleep at the moment, but outside of that, it's going very, very well. And the footy club's been terrific in their support and getting behind me from both ends. So the Carlton Footy Club and the Northern Blues, everyone involved has been absolutely terrific, and it's been a little bit overwhelming to receive so many support messages of support. That's for sure.
Has it kind of pricked your ears up a little bit about what coaching might look like? A long way down the path, obviously, but has it maybe got you a little bit more interested in it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you spend a lot of time playing and preparing yourself to play and compete on game day. And now, through force circumstance, you probably look at the game a little bit differently and you see it through a different lens. And as much as I'd love to be out there playing, I certainly am enjoying seeing it through that different lens, I guess. And I'll be hopeful that it's not for too much longer, but maybe somewhere down the track I'll be able to pursue maybe a coaching career.
And Tom, you said you're working with some of those younger players. Who are in that second half of the season? Who are some of the players that we can look out for? I know Keppel, a couple of goals on the weekend, but who are some of the other players that we can keep an eye on at the Blues?
I think, like Kane Keppel, as you mentioned, Mason Blakey, Jesse Palmer, Sam Fisher, they're the ones that jump to mind. But I think, younger blokes like Noah Wheeler, he's come down from the Bushrangers, he's made a really positive start. We've got Oscar White, who's played a couple of games as a 23rd player. And then you throw in, Glenn Strawn, who's been around for quite a while now. I think he played his 50th game the other week. And then Chris McCabe and JL as well. They're floating around and they're knocking on the door for an opportunity as well. So there's plenty to like. Unfortunately, at the moment, especially the last 2 weeks, we just haven't been able to string it for 4 quarters. So that's a challenge lying ahead of us as we move forward.
Take us through that game on the weekend as well. You're only the best part of a goal and a bit down at three-quarter time, and then, unfortunately, 2 points is all you could muster in the last quarter.
Yeah, so it was a little bit, not a little bit, it was very disappointing to drop away after three-quarter time like that. I think we didn't make life easy for ourselves with some of the decisions that we made, and then go earthly, a good side like Essendon's going to hurt you going the other way. So they were able to put some pressure on the scoreboard, and then we just didn't look after the ball when we had our opportunities either. So, we addressed that tonight in the meeting, and we need to make sure that going forward we look after the footy a little bit better and make sure that the decisions that we make it's the right one more often than not.
And Tom, of course, it was the TV game on the weekend, and it produced a great highlight, not for you guys,
yes,
but for Essendon with Jordan Houlihan taking the grab of the year. Did everyone have a word to Mason Blakey to say that he's going to probably be part of that mark of the year all season?
Yeah, we've got it framed up already. Don't worry about that. So he likes to tell everyone else how they're going. So it was a fair grab, wasn't it?
It was.
It was massive. Hey, Tom, just before we let you go, Kieran Collins, a couple of years on the Bulldogs list, the big boys, had a lot of injury issues in the last couple of years to deal with as well. First game on the weekend, I reckon it'll be a nice, handy addition for the back half of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, his injury over the last couple of years has probably frustrated him a little bit, and he's probably had to wait a little bit longer this season than he would have liked to play. But I know one thing with Colo is that his rehab, he was really diligent in it, and he was really patient with it, and he was really positive. So I think he'll be a terrific asset for the footy club, and he'll be better for the run on the weekend by his own means and his own expectations. He was probably a little bit down, but as I said, first game back in a while, and I'm sure he'll be better for the run. He'll bounce back this week for us.
It's going to be a very interesting game. All the best, Tom. All the best with your recovery, just as importantly as well, and thanks for the chat tonight.
No worries. Thanks for having me, boys.
Tom Wilson, the skipper of the Northern Blues, who's not out there at the moment, not too far away or not far removed from the team meeting as well. So it sounds like from what he's just said there, he stepped out to take our call, that there was a bit to take out of it for the Blues.
Yeah, certainly. And I think leading into this weekend's game, they'll talk about that Ant spirit. As we mentioned, it's on the jumper. It plays a big part of the Northern Blues. They've got a big luncheon, $80 per person. Head to northernbluesfc.com.au to pick a last-minute ticket to that event this weekend. But I think Tommy Wilson's one of those players that typifies the VFL and the type of player that are committed to a football club, live and breathe their VFL club, and it's great to hear him passing on that knowledge to the next generation of players at the Blues, the up-and-coming players, but also to the Carlton-listed players that are playing for the Northern Blues, just so they realise the history of the football club that they're playing for. It's not just a way to get back into the AFL list. It's you're playing for a club, you're playing for the Northern Blues, and here's our rich history of how we've got to today.
And I love that because they are, and you and I both sort of grew up with the VFL, with the VFA, sort of more to the point as well, but Northern Blues and that Bull Ants jumper was such a strong representation of the VFL at that stage. So I love that the Northern Blues haven't sort of just put that aside, that just to show how much it actually means to them. I think it's fantastic.
Get involved in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Visit vfl.com.au.
So there you go. That was the little snippet of the VFL hour. We're going to take a very, very quick break here at Downer Oval. 11-5-71, Williamstown leading North Melbourne 6-6-42. We'll have the third term right after this.
Nature's an amazing place. It's a perfect balancing act, thriving with life. Some of which we don't even see. Like the billions of microorganisms that help keep nature in balance. At Swiss, the quest continues.
At Totally Workwear, we kit out the brickies, the chippies, the foremen, the tradies. Did we say foremen? They're not all men, some are ladies. Yeah! Work in an office, retail, healthcare, hospitality? Here's where you'll find all your workwear. Yeah, totally. Totally Workwear have got you covered with the best brands, best value and best service. Totally Workwear. Get what you want and get back to work.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 1116 SEN.
But it's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Live on SEN2 DAB+.
I'm a digital radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
Where you go?
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly, you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations, plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer.
Or check out digitalradioplus.com.au.
And upgrade to digital.
Your Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coaches' huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Stuart Appleby has come from 7 strokes
And
behind
you'll
us.
find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
Welcome back to Downer Oval. Start of the third term is coming up shortly. Williamstown 11-5-71 leading North Melbourne 6-6-42. They kicked 8 goals to 4 in the second term. Did the Towners. Adam Sarikoglu, Michael Pepicelli and Mark Stone, the call team today at the home of the Williamstown Football Club. Stoney, have we got you at the moment?
You have.
Still a beautiful day out there.
Yeah, lovely day. There's the sun just setting in the west there. It's magnificent for the people watching this game today. Blue skies above. Bit of a breeze. That breeze now nearly across the ground, heading into the bay. So as I see the Seagulls flag above me there, just heading into the bay, and this first 10 minutes is going to be really important for the North Melbourne side, because they'll want to try and get a couple of goals against the breeze. But if Williamstown get a couple, she could be nearly all over.
Let's go around the grounds. A remarkable turnaround that the Blues have put together at Marble Stadium, and approaching three-quarter time, they lead by 11 points over the Brisbane Lions, who did kick the first goal of the third term. Since then, Carlton have kicked 5 in a row. So an amazing scoreline at Marble Stadium. Here, North looking to do a similar thing. They start the third term down by 29.
Campbell won the first hit out, and Ahern, as he's done all afternoon, wins the clearance, but only as far as Greiser for Williamstown, who had a fantastic first half with 12 disposals. That one's number 13, and it's a kick out wide. Read better in the air by Ebinger.
Really good use of that.
Takes the mark behind Morgan. Running a long way behind his mark. Eventually called to move it on. And he's just going to send it long towards half forward. Rodder was the flyer, but couldn't bring it down. Now at ground level. Lots of numbers around it. Rodder, one of those. We'll get a stoppage. Hibbert on the bottom of it. Had a prolific first half, did Mitch Hibbert. 16 disposals and a goal. We'll be looking to show North Melbourne just what it's missing out on, as bumped out of bounds was Myers, but nothing untoward, says the umpire. Boundary throw in. Just inside forward 50 for the Seagulls. They lead it by 29 points. 11-5 plays 6-6. Meese wins it down and gets it back. Tried to get Boots a ball but couldn't, while being dragged down by Campbell. Monk had it for a moment, then lost it. Tough stuff going on at the moment. Rovat eventually emerges with the footy. Kick towards Hayden. Couldn't quite bring it in. Now Holmes doing the tough stuff at ground level in characteristic fashion. Getting in there once again is Hayden. And we'll get a stoppage. Scrappy stuff early on third term. Round 10 action. Hard Yakka, Totally Workwear, VFL Live.
As high scoring as it was, the second term ended in somewhat scrappy fashion as well. Kick to centre wing. Tippett holding against Sherry, and a free kick to go Tristan Sherry's way. So it would be an understatement to suggest the North Melbourne Football Club need to have a good start to this third term, and they will get a holding infringement inside 50, and Aaron Hall can go back and kick the first goal of the third term. He's goalless so far today. In fact, it's now going to be a certainty, because we have a 50-metre penalty that'll bring him to the top of the goal square, and this should be the third goal from a 50-metre penalty we've seen today.
So Aaron Hall's moved to the forward line. There was a hold off the footy. Aaron Hall kicks the goal.
Heavily taped right knee. He kicks that one straight into the canteen. So 7-6-48, North Melbourne trailing Williamstown 11-5. 71. Almost 3 minutes gone.
Just on Aaron Hall, Stoney, do you know if he might have any injury issues at the moment? Because as he said, he's spending a lot of time up forward. He was up forward a lot in that second term as well. We know he had a slight injury issue last week. Has he been receiving any treatment on the sidelines?
Yeah, just before, at quarter time actually, he's gone the full forward on Lee Masters picking him up, but just before quarter time he was getting some treatment to his leg. So we've seen a lot of treatment to his legs last week, so he may be carrying something, trying to get over an injury, but certainly I don't think he's 100% fit.
Having an impact up forward is Aaron Hall, but not his usual position. as Campbell tries to burrow it out, but couldn't quite move it forward. Markon wins the clearance for Williamstown. Watch out. Kennedy went in courageously, couldn't quite bring down the mark while receiving some heavy contact. Wheeler still going at ground level, tried to slap it forward. Couldn't quite do so, and eventually we reach a stalemate. Pickus on the bottom of the pack. Rucks go at it again.
Free kick, Campbell. No. Going against Nick Meese.
Umpire pointed the wrong way initially. As Meese takes the free kick, thought about dishing it off, thought better of it, and now just pumps it long to the hot spot. Rodder went up, had it punched away from him, and a free kick going North Melbourne's way. So Kangaroo ball inside defensive 50. Still inside defensive 50 go the Kangaroos. Long kick looking for a Hearn in a one-on-one. Big fly at the back came from Monk. Couldn't bring it down. Now here's a Hearn wrapped up immediately. And caught holding the ball.
Umpire said he pulled the ball in and could have got it out.
Hibbard's free kick just short of centre wing.
Umpires have been hot today. It's an all AFL crew. Don't have a free kick count on the VFL app, but we've seen a lot paid. A couple of 50s as well. Hibbert towards half forward. Here's another one.
Campbell.
It's going to be North Melbourne's way.
Block.
Murphy, I think, is going to take it. Stoney.
I reckon the wrong play got it, but anyway.
So Tom Murphy has it at left half back, and he goes short for Nash Holmes. Quickly gets it moving. Centre wing ball going down in the marking contest with Sherry. That allowed an uncontested look for Joel Tippett. Gives it off by hand to Monk, who takes a bounce at half back. Kick might have been smothered off the boot. It trickles towards half forward. Well picked up by Donnell. Looking to get it off to Wheeler. Hacked it inside 50, and Rodder takes it uncontested. All too easy for the Seagulls.
A bit of a mung kick by Willie, but effective as North Melbourne player went the one way and then Nick Rodder went the other, and that's the result. Mark, kick on goal.
Back in the lineup. 13 goals for his season, 2 for today. And another goal for the Seagulls. Waiting for the scoreboard to tick over here. 12-5-77 now. The Seagulls, North Melbourne, 7-6-48.
If you look at their forward line structure, Nick Rodder's a very important player in the whole scheme of things. Full forward today. Sam Donnell is a half forward flanker, so Monk goes down there sometimes, and so they've got a lot of Josh Mellington there's on occasion. So really important the structure of the Williamstown forward line.
Three-quarter time at Marvel Stadium. Carlton leading Brisbane by 4 points.
Margin back to 29 points as it was at half-time. Almost 7 minutes into this third term. As Meese and Campbell go at it once again. Meese wins it down. They're both workhorses, those two. Handling the ruck duties basically all on their own today. Martin was crunched in a solid tackle. Hunt in there for Williamstown. Shot a handball out in hope more than anything else, but eventually the ball spills free to Greiser. Kick, lovely. Weighted very nicely, and the mark taken there by Atavi.
It's been good.
Has been very good, playing a more forward role this afternoon and doing it with aplomb. Sends it towards half forward. Campbell dropping back, couldn't quite bring it down. Went up almost unencumbered in the end, but just had the ball slip through his fingertips, did Campbell. Creates a problem for his North Melbourne teammates. Charleston now for Williamstown. Sends it forward. Big fly. No mark taken. And North Melbourne able to clear. Crocker gives it to Ahern, who looks up and sees a lot of darker blue jumpers. Tippett there. Got a cruel bounce, but eventually Charleston able to overlap. And now a chance for Martin.
2-on-2 contest here at half forward. Donnell was the first one to get a hand on it. Then he fumbled. Ahern allowed to go back in and win it back for the Kangaroos. A nice little chip by Campbell. Now Sherry. Bit of Andrew Bogut about the look of Tristan Sherry as he kicks toward half forward. Little dinky one for Scott. Ooh. And he's bumped heavily by Markon. The ball goes out of play. fairly populated side of the ground, the expensive side of the ground there today.
Pierre. Hope he's listening, Pierre. Fearless leader.
Throw in. I reckon there was a falcon in that ruck contest for Campbell. Now Hayden gets away from the Martin tackle, gets his hand pass off, and Scott sends the Roos toward the hot spot. Hosey beaten to the ball that time by Masters. And what's the umpire going to say here? Holding the ball, and a free kick shot on goal coming up for Lockie Hosey.
We had a good view of that one, Adam. It did look like the ball was dragged in by Masters, and Hosey paid the free kick in that situation.
Kicked a goal in the second term. Did Lockie Hosey. That was after kicking 3 last week. After being picked up in the mid-season draft. Right foot ball, kicks it nicely. And the Roos get one back. 8-6, 54 to 12-5, 77. 9.5 minutes into the third term.
Yeah, important goal. They've got to be close to the North Melbourne side at three-quarter time, you would think, to have a chance.
Here's the scoring in they've got here in the third.
They're off to a reasonable start as well. 2 goals to 1. Sees the margin reduced to 23 points. Approaching 10 minutes gone, third term. Couple of goals for Lockie Hosey this afternoon after 3 goals 2 last week. It looks like a real bright prospect for Kangaroos fans to get excited about. Might even find himself making an AFL debut if he can keep up this kind of form, which would be a remarkable story in itself as Hibbert takes it, tried to spin out of trouble, but no escaping the tackle of Robinson. And we'll get a stoppage, no prior opportunity. Campbell over the top, only as far as Pickus, just pokes it towards full forward. Rodder went up, couldn't bring it down. He's been contesting hard all afternoon as Rodder. Hasn't necessarily had the rewards for it as the kick is put out in front of Leonardis, beaten to it by Hunt, and the boundary line beat them both in the end. 12-5, 77 plays 8-6, 54. Round 10 action. Hope you're enjoying the coverage on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. Campbell takes possession, gives it off to Robinson. Now Leonardis ran himself into trouble. Robinson kept running. Now a chance for the Kangaroos towards half forward. Ball punched by Monk and taken by Greiser. Wrapped up by Hosey, out of play. 11.5 minutes gone. It's going to be a boundary throw in between wing and half forward for North Melbourne. This time Atavi in the ruck, and he wins the hit out decisively, but Kangaroos doing well to try and halve the stoppage. Eventually it spills free. Here's Holmes. Sends a left foot ball towards full forward. Hall has a couple to contest with. Got it to ground. Did he get a boot to it? No. Rushed through by Singh, and the margin now 22 points in favour of the Seagulls.
Joel Tippett to bring this one in for Williamstown. 22-point ball game at Downer Oval. It's advantage Seagulls. Kangaroos need a hold serve in this third term with the breeze. Ball up.
Like Ash Barty tonight, hopefully.
Just hope there's a good crowd there, Stoney. It's a grand slam. And a real disappointing crowd. We've spent a lot of time talking about that. Kennedy. There's more people here today, Stoney. Kennedy, round and round on the mark. Left foot towards half forward. Rodder's his target. Can't take it. Couple of roos out the back. Hand pass comes out. Little chipping kick's okay. Crocker takes the mark. There's a Ferris wheel out there, Stoney.
There is actually.
Right near the ice cream van.
There is. I was going to go to half time, but they wouldn't let me on.
Murphy. His kick's good. Watson. Hand pass off to Robinson. One way to the other. Looks back toward the corridor, and there is an option in board. Mark taken by Jansen. Inside the centre square. Jansen being asked to hurry up. His kick's okay for Robinson. So a bit of tempo footy here for the time being for the Kangaroos.
He's really got all the players back behind the ball, so
he was forced to go lateral, and that won't work out. It's back in Williamstown hands in the middle of Downer Oval. Umpire's going to call for a ball up inside the centre circles. It was Donnell winning it back. Or was it Kennedy? I think it was Kennedy.
The message coming out from North Melbourne, just go forward.
Ball hacked forward by Martin. It's picked up by Crocker. Gives off the handball, and we've got a kick to centre wing. Rovat's trying to read it in flight, as was Masters. It falls to ground. Scott fumbled at the wrong moment. Monk emerges with the ball for the Seagulls. Kick toward half forward. No mark taken. Morgan wins it back for North. Now it's Rovat. Hand pass to Scott. Nice build up. Great pressure though. Charleston and Monk win it back for the Seagulls once more. Kick comes wide, and the mark is taken by Billy Myers. There's a Seagull down. Braden Monk's a bit slow to get up. He's up on his feet now, and he'll wave off the trainers as Myers goes to centre wing. Nice fly for the ball. No mark taken. It might have been Greiser down there. Kick comes in board, and the mark taken by Garner.
Just inside the centre square. Thought about going quickly. Instead, waited a little bit. Hall was caught behind his opponent there in Singh. Now a chance. He is hurt as well, is Aaron Hall. As we said earlier in this term, he looks like he's been carrying an injury, and he hasn't moved, Aaron Hall. So this could be serious here, as a mark is taken for North Melbourne. A nice one too by Sherry, but that's where play's going to stop. Aaron Hall still hasn't moved.
Is he holding his knee? Is it a leg injury? It's not.
He's not holding anything. The North Melbourne trainer immediately tried to indicate to get play stopped, and he's successfully done that. So now 3 medicos attending to Aaron Hall, who is down inside 50. And this might be a stretcher situation.
Perhaps a heavy landing. He did hit the deck. Did Hall going up for that mark?
Stretcher's coming out. Still hasn't moved, by the way, so he's hunched over on his side. There are 2 doctors currently with him. He has not moved, Aaron Hall, and we all have a stretcher.
Both sides getting into huddles, which usually happens when expecting a lengthy delay, which we might have here. So the stretcher finally makes its way towards about 30 metres out from the Kangaroos' goal, where Hall is currently situated.
And we're trying to get a replay of the situation on vfl.com.au. We might take a look. We are getting a look at it right now. He's gone down in the marking contest. It's still not obvious, I think, Michael, from that replay we've just seen.
No, that's right, Adam.
Here's a second look at it. Oh, he has landed awkwardly. Right leg, I think he's landed awkwardly on the way down. That's what it looks like from the angle we're getting. Here's another look, slowed down even more. Left.
And that's the leg that isn't strapped.
I think it's the left leg that
that's right.
has landed awkwardly.
He's got the right leg strapped, so that left one perhaps the issue.
Great work by our camera operators to give us those replays. So
still doesn't appear to be holding anything, Aaron Hall, but
the fact that he hasn't moved, and there's no obvious break on the landing, but perhaps that is what has happened here, Michael. I don't know if we can get yet another look at it. If you are a little squirmish and there is potential for something ugly in this replay, then look away now. I can't see anything that looks too sinister in the 3 replays we've seen so far, Michael.
No, that's right, Adam. Hard to pick out anything in particular on the replay.
So
you can just see it here.
Have got a weak stomach and you are watching this, then maybe look away. As the ball comes inside 50, you'll see Aaron Hall go up in the red boots, land there.
Well, it's always I wondered what this does to a team's momentum, or stops a team's momentum, or how they think, or what they think about when things go. So, trying to get himself motivated, or just keeping talking about how things are going on the ground. But he's actually up. He's sort of like now sitting up. Is Aaron Hall at the moment?
Yeah, so he's getting himself onto the stretcher.
In broken leg situations, the last thing you want to do is move it, Stoney. So they've got to keep it as still as possible. And the fact that he didn't move for a good couple of minutes before the stretcher even came out seems to indicate that it is the kind of situation where you do not want to move it at all. And he's on the stretcher now, so he'll come off. He's had such bad luck. And it looks like this is another serious injury for Aaron Hall. Maybe at three-quarter time, Stoney, we can maybe find something out. I know we're due to talk to Andy Collins out of the three-quarter time huddle, but we'll see if we can get any information at all from the North Melbourne Football Club as Aaron Hall now does make his way off the ground. So the game is at 12:5:77. Williamstown, North Melbourne, 8-7-55. A 22-point lead for the Seagulls. They led by 29 at halftime and 4 at quarter time. North Melbourne have the scoring end in this third term, which is left of screen if you're watching us on VFL.com.au.
So it is a Tristan Sherry mark, wasn't it?
It was. As Hall's just making his way off the ground now in the hands of the trainers.
So we've got a good view of this at the moment, Michael. I still can't,
It's hard to tell. We don't want to speculate, but it does look like it could be perhaps a devastating blow.
It was definitely an awkward landing from the marking contest. Play has resumed.
It certainly has. As Sherry sends it inside 50, Garner was the big flyer. Ugle received the ricochet, but Andrews was there, and he's taken down holding the ball. Taylor Garner lifting in the second half once again, as he did last week, and Mason Morgan just say hello to each other, but it's going to be Taylor Garner's ball, and this is more than kickable for a player of his talent.
See, Tristan Sherry spent some time at Williamstown in his Western Jet day, so a few ex-players sort of saying, "G'day, how are you going?"
As he said earlier, Stoney, always interesting to see how a team responds when one of their players is taken off on a stretcher. This would be as good a start as he could get for North Melbourne as Garner comes in and he slams it through, and the players come from everywhere to celebrate with him. Margin back to 16 points. 9-7-61 the Kangaroos. Williamstown 12-5-77. They're having the better of this third term. We've played 21 minutes.
They need to get the next goal. That's the one they want. They want one more now because Williamstown will be having a crack now. So North Melbourne need to obviously repel that and get 6 points.
Sorry for stepping there, Stoney. The only goal of the final term at Marvel Stadium off the boot of Paddy Cripps, and it's Carlton leading by 8 points over Brisbane. Still a fair chunk of footy still to go there, 13 and a half to go.
So now we have Tom Campbell in the 50 in the forward line, Tristan Sherry in the ruck for the North Melbourne team.
Ball to be bounced. We've seen very good bouncing today, and that continues here. Sherry might have missed it, but Holmes was there for the Kangaroos. Now Hayden puts it ground. Solid tackle by Meeks. Ball up. So the margin is 16 points. North doing well to stay in it, but they won't have the scoring end in the final term. As the ball socket toward the boundary line by Daly Andrews and goes out of play. Boundary throw in. It's almost a rugby league sort of name, that one, Stoney. Daly Andrews. Should be playing Origin. Throw in. There's another one as well we spoke about last week, Stoney. Nash Home should have his own crime show.
Wouldn't be bad, would it?
It's a great name. Garner. Ahern tried to screw it around onto the right. Scott called his name a fair bit today, and the Roos do go towards half forward now. Campbell trying to chip it out of it. Does get it. Does Campbell. Wrapped up.
Holding ball.
And he bit off more than he could chew. It's a free kick for the Seagulls to be taken by Joel Tippett, right half back for Williamstown, leading this game by 16 points. It will be a long quarter. Aaron Hall, 5 or so minutes ago, stretch it off with what might be a serious leg injury. As we see a ball up on centre wing on this Bay side of the ground, the Port Phillip Bay wing.
We'll endeavour to get more to you on that Aaron Hall injury if we can later on in the afternoon. It's Williamstown leading by 16 points, 23 minutes gone in this third term, but it will be a long quarter. Stenell has his handball intercepted. Cunningham had a fumble, and that allowed the Seagulls to jump on top of the footy, and we'll get a ball up a little bit closer to the boundary line. Breeze still going strong here at Downer Oval towards the Port Phillip Bay wing. Sherry tried to lay a tackle on Wheeler, couldn't quite do so. Slippery in that situation is Wheeler. Gained about 30 metres with the worm-burning kick towards half forward, and we'll get a boundary throw in. So it's 6th place, 13th here at Downer Oval, but North Melbourne, not your typical 13th place team, as we have a Williamstown free kick.
Nick Rodder.
It is Rodder's ball, just forward of centre wing. The Seagulls haven't had it inside 50 for a while. They get it there now with Rodder's kick. Right towards full forward, off hands at the back. Running into the open goal and missing is Nick Ebinger. Crowd disappointed in that finish.
Hit the post.
Hit the post, minor score. Seagull lead out to 17 points.
Kangaroos quickly want to bring it back toward the Port Phillip side of the ground, but the mark is taken by our man W squared. And he's going to get a 50-metre penalty. He's Willie Wheeler.
Too
Umpires
close.
have been hot on this all day today.
The old too close to the protected area.
Yep. It's not actually an old rule, is it, Stoney? We've only seen it really sort of the new interpretation over the last couple seasons, but shot on goal coming up here.
It's not a good one, that one, is it? Like when you've got a player of Willie Wheeler's capabilities in front of goal.
Did kick one in the second term, having a good year, plus 20 average disposals per game. So Wheeler to extend the lead to 23. He shanked it horribly. The goal kicking at that end of the ground today, Stoney, has not been good. And it's an 18-point lead for the Seagulls.
For a player of his capabilities, that's a shocking miss.
All players having the yips on that side of the ground today.
18-point margin. Kick in is long and towards the Port Phillip Bay wing. No one got a hand to it. Robinson just toe poked it along the ground. In fact, it was Jansen. Andrews keeps it in. He does. To his detriment, though. North Melbourne had the numbers. And a high free kick's been paid to Andrews, a 23rd man for Williamstown this afternoon.
Just for our SEN2 audience, because we've had some long quarters, off air at 4:45 today, which means that we might miss the end of the game on SEN2, potentially.
Has it on centre wing, does Andrews. And he sends it long towards half forward. Rodder stands and jumps, got both hands to it. Couldn't complete the mark. Now Hibbert taking in a strong tackle, but able to get the hands free. Now Andrews again. Good to see him up after copping that heavy knock. To Wheeler inside 50. Mellington got up, but just went with the one hand instead of the two. Morgan tried to tap it on cleverly. Too clever for his own good. And he's punished with a goal to Ollie Tate. Big goal for the Seagulls. They've been peppering the last couple of minutes. Margin back out to 24 points. 13-7, 85, I should say. Plays 9-7, 61.
Just got to take the ball. Take the ball. Otherwise, it's going to cost you a goal, and that's what it did. Cost you a goal.
Goal to Charlie Curnow around the grounds, and it's the Blues by 15 points. How often do we see that with the incumbent coach coming in and getting a win first up? Happened with North Melbourne last week, and we're seeing it here potentially for the Blues.
They'll be sacking coaches every week before you know it, fellas.
Good call, Michael.
Not good for the coaches, Stoney. On the unemployment line if that happens. Back in the middle here. Beautiful sunshine, a lovely winter's day, and that's the first recalled bounce of the day. Stoney, not sure why we still persist with this tradition of the game. I know it's traditional, but tradition sometimes holds us back from progress.
You've got to have the bounce. You can't give it a bounce.
Well, they're called back a number of times in games.
Maybe just let it go.
Oh, you're happy to see him recalled?
No, just go. Let it go.
Fair enough. Inside 50, diving effort for Kennedy. No mark taken. Seagulls start and then reassert their dominance on the game once more.
I reckon at the old, if the umpire, it's part of the game, the ball bounces differently. If you get 9 out of 10 bounce going to go. If you get like 7 out of 10, 3 go the other way, just let it go. That's my opinion.
I'll have an off-air conversation with you after the game, Stoney, because I've got a lot of opinions that contradict yours on that one. Kick toward the goal square here. Bouncing ball. North Melbourne through Leonardis. Looking to clear deep 50. Takes an interesting bounce and then clears towards centre wing. Got a one-on-one.
Well done by Lee
Another
Masters.
intercept mark by Masters.
Good use of the body.
And what's happening here? A downfield umpire has paid yet another 50-metre penalty.
Protected area.
Gee, well.
Now, obviously we've had VFL umpires and AFL umpires. And they
3
really
AFL umpires today, Stoney.
They are really hot on it. Absolutely hot on that rule today.
So this will be a shot on goal for Masters. Well, it might be one nail in the North Melbourne coffin if he kicks it as well, although goal kicking has not been good at this end. That one looks okay off the boot. It was straight enough, but not long enough. It's marked on the goal line by Joel Atavi.
He's been good. I really enjoyed his game today, young fella. He's impressive. He's got good set of hands, and he might be a bright prospect for the future, this young fella.
What's not guaranteed, though, is the goal. There's been some shocking kicking at this end.
I tell you what, he can't miss this, can he?
Now that you've said that, Stoney,
he can't miss it.
If he does kick it, he'll be the leading goal kicker on the ground with 3. Point blank range for a 5-goal lead for the Seagulls. Does the job. We wait for the scoreboard to tick over here with the goal effect. There we go. 14-7-91 Williamstown, North Melbourne 9-7-61. 30 gone, but it will be a long quarter after Aaron Hall stretch it off.
This might go 40
like
minutes.
A bad leg injury.
This will go 40 minutes this quarter, I reckon.
This game is going to run late. We had 2 weeks ago a game run late at the Swinburne Centre. That was almost played in darkness as the Bombers made a late comeback against the Tigers. Don't think we'll have that situation today.
Biggest lead of the afternoon now for the Seagulls. It's gotten out to 29 points a couple of times, but this is the first time it's hit the 30 mark. So North Melbourne need to find something late in this third term. Martin, handball to Hunt for Williamstown. Now Singh spots an option he likes out wide, and a good strong mark taken in front there by Ebinger, who missed the easiest of goals earlier in this quarter, but took a good mark on that occasion. Long ball inside 50. No flyers in the end for Williamstown. The ball held up a little bit in the wind. Jansen needs to be careful. Got a handball away just in time, and the kick affected. A chance for another one for Williamstown. The kick from Pickus intercepted for North Melbourne by Cunningham. He's turned it over on the kick though. Scrappy stuff from both sides here. Inside defensive 50 for North Melbourne, but eventually they're able to get it out through White Cross, and now they've taken the mark on the outer side.
Mackay chips over the top for Cunningham. Still behind true centre wing on the expensive side of the ground. He's asked to hurry up. Has to get around Mellington. The kick forward does find its way to Scott. Rushes it inside 50. Ebinger and Masters underneath it. Drop marked there for Masters. Monk gives it back to Lee Masters. Handball not great. Does turn it over. Chance for North Melbourne. Hayden 360'd in the tackle. Play on was the call. He did get rid of it. Monk's kick to clear 50 is good. The mark taken, and we're on for a run here. It's Nick Singh. Takes 2 bounces in the corridor. Sends the Seagulls inside 50. Rodders one-on-one. And he takes the mark against Declan Watson, the man from Darley. Will have a shot.
Brilliant kick, always to the advantage of Rodder. He deserves this one. He's contested hard all day.
Nice part of the world, Stoney, Darley. Right by Bacchus Marsh.
God's country up there. Beautiful part of the world.
Now it's kicked 2 goals, one either side of the half-time break. Nick Rodder for a game-high lead. Even if he misses, it'll be the case. He kicks the goal, and the Towners lead by 36 points. 15-7-97 to 9-7-61.
Yeah, one out, Nick Roddo. Obviously had a bit of an injury issue this year, but he's a very good forward. One-on-one, it's pretty hard to obviously get a person of that capability in the air, so good result for the Towners.
We've travelled 33.5 minutes in this third term, but it will be a long quarter. If you've just joined us, Aaron Hall stretchered off the ground with what looks to be a serious injury earlier in this third term. So a big blow to him and also the North Melbourne Footy Club. And just to add insult to injury, they're trailing by 36 points after a 4-3 third term in favour of the Seagulls.
Round of grounds, Lincoln McCarthy has brought the Lions within 8 points of Carlton. Just under 5 minutes to go at Marvel. Lid open today.
Free kick in the ruck. Which way is this going? Campbell was dragged down by Meese.
It's been a good contest, this one.
Want to get your thoughts on the ruck battle shortly, Stoney, as Campbell sends it long, looking for Mackay, who's been swung forward. Couldn't impact the contest on that occasion. The mark taken by Tate. Kicked a lovely goal earlier in this term, and he goes laterally for Greiser. Leading disposal winner last week for Williamstown last week was Jake Greiser. 25 disposals he had, and that kick's a good one. Finds Pickus, and there is the siren for three-quarter time. North challenged early in that term, but the Seagulls steadied. And after three, here at Downer Oval, they lead at 15-7-97 to 9-7-61. North Melbourne with plenty of work ahead of them in the final term, and you'll hear it after this break.
At Totally Workwear, we kit out the brickies, the chippies, the foremen, the tradies. Did we say foremen? They're not all men, some are ladies. Yeah! Work in an office, retail, healthcare, hospitality? Here's where you'll find all your workwear. Yeah, totally. Totally Workwear have got you covered with the best brands, best value and best service. Totally Workwear. Get what you want and get back to work.
Totally Workwear. Nature's an amazing place. It's a perfect balancing act, thriving with life. Some of which we don't even see. Like the billions of microorganisms that help keep nature in balance. At Swiss, the quest continues.
Your Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL Club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coaches' huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
I'm a digital radio.
And I'm a digital TV. Now, you may remember when TV went digital.
Yes, and you got a lot more channels and a better picture.
Well, buying a digital radio is the same.
Exactly. I've got up to 30 extra radio stations, plus all your old faves, and I sound amazing.
Yeah, but I look amazing.
Yeah, but this is a radio ad, so no one can see you.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to hear this station like you have never heard it before,
buy a digital radio.
Head into your nearest retailer and upgrade to digital.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 1116 SEN.
But it's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Live on SEN2 DAB+.
Love your sport? then you'll love SEN.
Looks to be the last game of the first set. Almagro leading 5-3.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
Three-quarter time at Downer Oval. Williamstown in control over North Melbourne. 15-7-97. The Seagulls leading the Kangaroos. 9-7-61. No other games taking place around the grounds today in the Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL. Earlier in the morning, it was the Tigers bouncing back against the Cats by 23 points at the Swinburne Centre. One AFL game is taking place around the grounds, and there is an upset brewing at Marvel Stadium with Carlton looking like they're on their way to a win against the Brisbane Lions. 2 minutes to go at Marvel Stadium, and it's the Blues 77 and Brisbane 63. In fact, out of behind. So 11-12-78, Carlton 9-9-63. The Brisbane Lions, Paddy Cripps has kicked the most recent goal of the day. He's got 36 disposals as well, having an outstanding game. 4 goals and 36 for Paddy Cripps. Let's have a look at some of the stats. It's a three-quarter time here in our game. 3 goals for Joel Atavi and 3 for Nick Rodder as well. Leading disposal getters for the Seagulls. Mitch Hibbard has 20, 18 for Willie Wheeler. Jake Greiser has 16 and 15 each to Liam Hunt and Joel Tippett for North Melbourne. 2 goals for Taylor Gardner and Lockie Hosey. Leading ball getters, Paul Ahern has 19, 17 for Joel Crocker. As I re-welcome Michael Peppicelli to the coverage here. We saw a very nasty incident involving Aaron Hall in the third term. Had to be stretchered off the ground. A very awkward landing on his left leg in a marking contest. We won't see him again today. No news yet as to how serious that injury is.
Yeah, that's right, Adam, and that's a really devastating blow for Aaron Hall and also North Melbourne as well. He's been a really good player for them throughout the season, and for Aaron Hall himself, come across to a new club this year after departing the Gold Coast Suns last year. Probably hasn't quite had the opportunity to really stamp himself on the North Melbourne Footy Club just yet, and he's gone down with a serious injury just short of the halfway mark of the season. So he'll be really disappointed with that, and we wish him all the best, of course, with his recovery, with whatever that injury may be. Hopefully we might be able to get a little bit of information from Stoney at some stage, but either way, a devastating blow for North Melbourne and also Aaron Hall.
Now, I suspect Stoney's going to try and get Andy Collins for us out of the Williamstown huddle, but we'll see how Stoney fares there. 3 games coming up tomorrow in the Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL. Northern Blues will take on Coburg in the Battle of Bell Street. Always a great battle, that one. That's a 1 p.m. start there. Frankston will take on Port Melbourne from 2 o'clock at Skybus Stadium. And Casey in the TV game hosting Collingwood. Stoney, if you have got us.
Yeah, I got Clint Proctor from the Willie Footy Club. Clint, how have you seen the first 3 quarters of this match so far?
Yeah, it's been an intense battle, that's for sure. The boys have come to fight. Contested works really well. Entries inside 50 seem to be a little bit more trajectory, nice and low, and we're getting some opportunities to score. It's good.
So you're the 4-line coach, Clint, so you must be pretty happy. Nick Rodder's doing well down there, and a bit of a target, a bit of a focal point.
Yeah, Rod's has been great. He's also helping out Joel Otavi and Sammy Donnell getting off the leash a little bit, so he creates a contest, and that's what we are.
And this last quarter, what would Collo be wanting this last quarter?
I just need time in forward half and make sure our pressure's up, If we get some repeat efforts, contested footy, we'll go a long way to win.
All right, mate. Take care.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Stoney. We have a final score from Marvel Stadium. The Brisbane have blown what was a pretty solid first half lead. 11-12-78. The Blues have defeated Brisbane 9-9-63. Paddy Cripps having a day out, 38 touches and 4 goals. And one of those goals was the last goal of the game, the sealer. So an outstanding performance from him. Well done to the Blues. David Teague, who's had a fair bit of time here in the VFL, gets a win first up as the standing coach for the Blues. Final term about to get underway here. It's Williamstown by 36 over North Melbourne. Here is Michael Peppicelli.
The Kangaroos need to kick a couple of quick early goals in this final term just to give themselves some belief they can do it. They are one man down. It's Robinson taken high by Mellington. Ball inside forward 50. Williamstown backline able to clear though. Masters looking for Mark-on, one-on-one with Jansen. Jansen did well. Protected the drop zone and gathered the footy on the bounce. Gave it off to Hayden. His kick though intercepted by Tate. And he's just going to poke it laterally for Myers. Still inside defensive 50. Monk offers a short lead. And that's where he goes. He's also still inside defensive 50. Murphy standing the mark for North Melbourne. As Monk plays on, doesn't really gain any ground, just runs sideways and eventually chips it short to Mellington. And Monk keeps running and he receives the handball. Long ball looking for Donnell, really good over his head. And he takes the mark at half forward, looking for Rodder on the lead, and he's got it.
There you go, right on cue. Nick Rodder, forward entries, one out, takes a mark. Pretty easy footy.
He's missed the last few weeks with an injury, has Nick Rodder. Back for his first game since round 5. He's kicked 3 goals this afternoon and he'll be looking to make it 4 here.
Stoney, Williamstown's only +3 for inside 50s. It's becoming a stat that doesn't really give us much indication as to how the game's going. So I think Richmond won the inside 50 count last night against Geelong.
It's how you use the ball when you're in 50.
Looking for goal number 4, the kick from the paint. It looks pretty good off the boot. And he's got it, and he celebrates wildly to go with it. 4 goals for Nick Rodder, and the Seagulls crack the ton. 16-7, 103, leading North 9-7, 61.
Do you know you have some players that really the importance of the players into the team? Nick Meese is a really important player. Nick Rodder as a forward, the key focal point. Sam Donnell as a half-forward flank. So key players in a structure of your team are really important. So to have these 2 boys back, Meese and Rodder today, obviously is critical, obviously, Williamstown moving forward.
And with no Meese and Rodder last week, Stoney, they went down to Box Hill, as you mentioned. So they are 2 critical players for the Seagulls.
Absolutely.
Northern Blues v Footscray next week on Hard Jacket. Totally Workwear VFL Live. It's an early start, that one on air from 12:45 on SEN2. And you can watch it on vfl.com.au via the YouTube link. Just a reminder for our SEN2 audience today, our coverage, regardless of where the game is at, will be finished at 4:45. So the game will still be going most likely at that point. Just switch over to vfl.com.au. We can watch the rest of the game via that platform. So the margin is 42 points here at Downer Oval. Nick Rodder now has 4 goals to his name. Kicked one very late in the 3rd term. Free kick here for Campbell. And he goes down the line. Still bathed in sunshine here at Point Jellybrand. It's a lovely day today. Kick down the line. Donnell on all 4s takes a nice mark.
So we're still looking for Sam Donnell's 3rd goal for his 200th goal of VFL football.
It's too far out to do it with this kick as he looks for his ruckman, and Meese takes the mark in scoring range if the breeze is still taking effect.
Still the flags say it is, but it seems to have dropped off a bit. But yeah, it's still a beautiful day here at Point Jellybrand.
Only the 1 goal 3 this year so far for Nick Meese. Gave off the handball. Shots on the way. A big goal by Mitch Hibbert. His 2nd. And the Seagulls are well on their way now. That's 2 goals for Mitch Hibbert, 2 goals in this final term, and 17 for the game. 17-7, 109 I should say, to 9-7, 61.
He's had a sensational year, Mitch Hibbert, since being listed by North Melbourne. And I know there's a couple of recruiters here today, and I wouldn't be surprised we see Mitch Hibbert back on an AFL list next year.
The stat line today, 22 disposals, has those 2 goals, 11 tackles as well.
Yeah. An outstanding game.
He was generating some buzz as a potential mid-season draft pick, Mitch Hibbert, but didn't get selected in that draft, and he'll look once again to be picked up perhaps later on in the season.
There's one more touch away from maintaining his average for the year, disposals-wise.
Back in the middle, on track to eclipse that as well. No movement from the stoppage. We'll get another ball up. Just outside the centre circles on this occasion. Meese directs it down beautifully. Kick inside forward 50 now for the Seagulls. Crocker, confronted by a couple of Seagulls, dished it off to Morrison, and now a chance for Whitecross deep inside defensive 50. Campbell does well to get across and takes the mark. Has a man over the top in Jansen if he wants him. Decides to take a bounce. Eventually draws the opponent there in Myers and gives it off to Jansen. And nice pass inside forward 50. Shot at goal coming up for North Melbourne.
They really have
Garner's the man who has it.
They've got to just to finish off to obviously finish off the game, get some goals, some confidence, and it's always important not to get blown away on the scoreboard.
Kicking for goal number 3, Taylor Garner. This would reduce the margin to 42 points as we tick over 6 minutes gone in this final term. The kick on its way, well across the face and off hands through for a behind. Margin back to 47 points.
It's a great crowd at Point Jelly Brown today. Not much local footy taking place, Stoney, with the Queen's birthday break, so a very good crowd for what's been conditions-wise a perfect day for footy.
It is always a good crowd out here. They get a good crowd award.
So the kick toward the middle of the ground, Gariza, and it's found the target. It's Mitch Hibbert again. So he's now gone above his season average for disposals. That was 23. It's gone coast to coast here. The snap from Pickus is a point. They're turning it on now to Seagulls. It's back to an 8-goal game. 17-8, 110 to 9-8, 62. Quick kick in for the Kangaroos, and Garner's away.
Went, played on. Don't know if that was a good idea. Had a few Seagulls around him. Gave the handball off to Nash Holmes, who, again, surrounded by plenty of Seagulls. Just rushed on that occasion, the Kangaroos.
On the expensive side of the ground there, the sun is going above or beyond, below the line. So it's very difficult to see on the other side of the ground.
So a chance here for Williamstown. Mark on, gives it back to Charleston. Got around a tackler a little bit too easily and now pumps it long. Rodder, one-on-one, got a hand to it. Whitecross there, though, to mop up for North Melbourne. And now Cunningham and Morrison combining. Scott getting in on the act as well. They work it out by hand. Eventually Scott kicks to centre wing, looking for Rovat, but the kick was tailor-made for Singh, and he's able to play the 1-2 with Tippett and gives it inboard to Hibbert. Having an outstanding afternoon is Mitch Hibbert. This will be disposal number 24. Called to move on, and he spots an option he likes. Pickus had to compete against a couple, did well, and got it out of play. Just as the North Melbourne AFL team's getting ready to take on the Gold Coast Suns at Metricon Stadium, Adam, the Kangaroos at VFL level trailing by 48 points.
Spinning ball back into play. Charleston put down. In fact, it was Hunt put down straight away. Hand pass for Scott. A little wayward boundary throw in. Earlier today, it was the Blues getting an upset win over the Lions. And here in the VFL, Richmond by 23 over Geelong. Boundary throw in. Campbell. Murray Tavi out of the ruck contest. Jansen. Eventually hand pass. Another wayward one for Bailey Scott. Another touch for Mark Stone.
If I was a budding cameraman, right, the postcard shot today at this moment would be sensational, let me tell you. Beautiful.
Centre wing throw in right in front of Mark Stone. As much as we love you, Stoney, it'd be good to have Glenn Hill back next week on the coverage.
He's going for a job at Hallmark, Stoney.
Why not? Campbell.
Down the line he goes towards half forward. Markey's taken now for the Seagulls by Tate. He goes inboard. It's Martin. Centre wing ball. Fumbled. Scott. Hand pass off, if you can't tell by my tone. This one's disintegrating into a bit of junk time now. Boundary throw in. It's Williamstown by 48 points.
We want to see a few
over North
goals.
Melbourne.
We're only 9.5 minutes into the quarter.
17-8 plays 9-8. Williamstown doing it comprehensively over North Melbourne this afternoon at Downer Oval. As Stoney said, only 10 minutes gone now in this final term, and they go inside 50 again, do the Seagulls. Rodder one-on-one with Watson. Watson wins on that occasion, but thumped it straight down to Henderson for Williamstown. They had numbers inboard, instead decided to go outside. Mellington from the pocket misses. That would have been icing on the cake from the impossible angle, but just missing to the near side. Margin now 49 points as Morrison readies to take the kick in and just goes short with a safe option to Cunningham. He can wheel and go. Spots a man on the outer side, and that's Murphy. His kick's smothered though. Williamstown coming back with it, but turnover forced. Robinson, handball over his head. That was slick to Scott, and the pass is good to Ugle at half forward.
So the Seagulls will be in the top 4 tonight. They will replace Footscray. Percentage will decide exactly where in the top 4 they'll sit, because Port Melbourne are currently 122.4 in third spot. And the Kangaroos will have a shot on goal here. Lockie Hosey, it looks like. Yep, it is Hosey.
If I'm a betting man, he'll get this one.
Which post, Tony?
Left hand, slightly.
This is all happening in front of the Ferris wheel.
And the ice cream, Mr. Whippy.
And the ice cream van, of course. So Hosey, he kicks this. He matches his output from last week of 3 goals. Kicks on the way. It's going to fall across the face, and the minus score is the result. 9-9-63, the Roos. Williamstown 17-9, 111, approaching the halfway mark of this final term.
Even 8-goal margin here at Downer Oval. 12 minutes gone, final term. Kick-ins long up the middle. Hibberd there, so too Campbell. Campbell with the height advantage, takes the mark despite being in the back position. Sends it long immediately back inside forward 50. No mark taken. Scott tracking this at ground level. Has company in the form of Monk. Keeps it in, does Monk, and he might get himself a disposal. Called out of bounds, in fact.
So I reckon that you mentioned before about the 2 ruckmen. I thought they've just countered each other. They've both really been good for both their teams. We see, is Nick Meese off the ground at the moment? I think he may be.
Campbell playing a kick behind the stoppage as well. So Atavi and Sherry go at it on that occasion. Clearance going Williamstown way, but the kick went over the head of Campbell, who comes in now to lay a tackle on Mellington, but still good enough to get the handball away was Mellington, and he'll get it back here. Has Kennedy short, elected to go longer. Smother was good by Morrison, stays in play. All happening very close to the boundary line. Right in front of Mark Stone, in fact, and we'll get a ball up.
Yeah, so both ruckmen, I think, have been really effective for both their teams. Campbell taking a few more marks around the ground, but Nick Meese's ruck work has been impeccable today.
They are 2 of the very best ruckmen in the hard yakka totally workwear VFL, and we've been treated to a bit of a show here with their battle, and as you heard Stoney say, no free kick for a high tackle. Umpire might have missed that one. Stoney probably had a better view of the umpire on that occasion, might have been blindsided. Big tackle laid by Sherry, and it's going to be a boundary throw-in.
Nick Meese, 29 hit-outs today. Tom Campbell, 28. So that's close to break even. Free kick here for Sherry. He has 9 hit-outs for today. Not a great kick toward Jansen. It's picked up here by Hibberd, although there's a free kick out of all of that. It's going to go Jansen's way.
It really is a tough game, football. Like, just at this level, just the amount of pressure acts and just tackling is amazing.
Leonardis sends the Kangaroos inside 50, and only one man went up for it and read it well in flight. It was a great mark by Masters. He's been very good today. Kick wide for Ebinger, not so much. It stays in. Greiser in front of Mr. Whippy. Down the line we go. And a good mark taken by Cunningham. It's just a bit of kick to kick at the moment. Bit of markers up. Inside 50 from Cunningham. Not a great ball. And Greiser takes the relieving mark. He goes with the switch. Monk with the fist. That's okay for Hibberd. Down the line, Donnell. He takes the mark. Hibberd up to 25. Inboard goes Donnell. Mark on. in toward the middle of Downer Oval. Next in the chain is Martin. Inside 50 mark taken by Myers. Largely uncontested passage, that one.
Training drills.
Slight angle here for Billy Myers. Hasn't kicked a goal today. Only has one for the season. Margin will go beyond 50 if he kicks it. Right foot's on the way. Perfect. Myers goes bang. 18 for the day for the Seagulls. Margin is 54 points. 18-9-117. Kangaroos 9-9-63. 16
really,
gone final time.
Really flexing their muscle now, the old Williamstown Seagulls at the moment, but you can see the difference in the teams. Williamstown have got a very classy outfit. When their best side's on the park, they're very, very effective.
Just the second goal of the season for Billy Myers. Young 23-year-old, averaging 14 disposals this season. Certainly played his role today.
Nick Moose just to the left of me is on the bike. Obviously I reckon he come in a bit of a cloud today and got a bit of a corky, but he's on the bike just keeping that warm.
Wheeler on top of this footy, dived on top of it, made no effort to get it out. So that'll be holding the ball. Jansen's ball for North Melbourne. Almost 17 minutes gone, final term. Jansen sends it towards half forward. Hosey's at the back. Sherry at the front, got a hand to it, but all Seagulls at ground level. Handball given up, and good tackling from the Seagulls sees them force the turnover. Charleston gives it over the top now. And inside forward 50 they go. Kennedy, the kick was beautifully placed for him and he took the mark over his head.
How far out, boys?
Mark's at 45.
I reckon he can kick this. I reckon he's right-hand goal post. Ben Kennedy will have a chance of kicking this goal.
He'll be kicking from about almost right on 50 metres, you'd think. And this would make it an even 10-goal margin as Kennedy comes in, wrong side for a left footer. He's gone all the way. Another goal kicker for Williamstown. Ben Kennedy gets in on the party. The margin now out to 16 points. He becomes the 11th individual goal kicker for the Seagulls this afternoon. 19-9-123. Plays 9-9-63.
Heat goes out of the game and Williamstown says, OK, we'll have some, Nick Rodder goes in the ruck, we'll have some percentage with this. So they won't take their foot off at the moment.
Underway at Metricon Stadium. One behind for the Gold Coast Suns, North Melbourne yet to score. Not a good day for their VFL side here. After such an impressive win last week against Richmond, find themselves down by 10 kicks today. Almost time on now, final term.
What time are we going till today, boys?
Well, we've only got 7 minutes left on SEN2, so I think we're going into OT on the live stream, Stoney. So I think we can sneak in an interview or two with one or two of the better players on the ground for the Seagulls. Fortunately, if you're listening to us on SEN2, you'll have to switch over to VFL.com.au for the end of our coverage today. Next week it will be the Northern Blues taking on Footscray at Icon Park as we go down a line here on the expensive side, and mark taken by Ahern. Easy to spot with the lime green boots. Ahern's right football towards half forward. Garner's underneath it and he takes a nice mark here. Too far out to score though. And in no rush. This one's been in junk time for a while now. Little right foot chipper over the top. A couple of players might have lost it in the sun. No mark was taken. Ugle with the snap on goal. Kicks a late one for the Kangaroos. 10-9-69 to 19-9-123.
Well rove by the for Ugle. He just, I think his relations at the Ugle used to play at the West Coast many years ago, or Fremantle, one of those, and that was a really good snap on goal for 6 points.
Will Powers kicked the first goal of the evening for the Gold Coast Suns, 1-1-7. North Melbourne yet to score.
Almost into time on here at Downer Oval. It's going to be a comprehensive victory for Williamstown. They lead it by 54 points. 19-9, 123, plays 10-9, 69. Won 2 out of their last 3, the Seagulls. This will make it 3 out of 4. 20-point loss to Box Hill last week, the only blemish in their last month. Back in the middle, Rodder outmatched against Sherry in the ruck, with Nick Meese off the ground, as Stoney mentioned earlier. Hibbard wrapped up, we'll get another stoppage. Sherry palmed it straight down to Martin for Williamstown. His little kick was into the path of Henderson, who took the mark but didn't travel the required distance.
Didn't travel half the required distance.
So called to play on and wrapped up immediately. We'll get another stoppage. Rodder wins it down on this occasion to Andrews. Tried to get through a tackle and almost did. Might have been legged. Rodder's attack was good at ground level. And then he goes and lays a strong tackle. And we'll get another stoppage. So 21 minutes gone, final term. 19-9, 123. Plays 10-9, 69. It's a big home ground advantage the Seagulls have here at Downer Oval. This will make it 9 out of their last 10 games they've won at this venue. They've certainly turned it into a fortress in recent times as Ugle gathers inside forward 50. He's tackled, calls for a high tackle, but he won't get a free.
Next week, big rivalry game for the Seagulls. They take on Port Melbourne in what is the Channel 7 game at Adcon Stadium next week. Kangaroos also in action on Sunday, away to Frankston.
Clearing kick for Williamstown, intercepted by Murphy. That's Tom Murphy. Has it just inside the centre square. Thought about taking on the man on the mark, and that wasn't a great idea because Atavi was up to the task. Affected the kick. He might get on the end of this here. Burrowing hard as a couple of his Williamstown teammates, but the ball doesn't come out. Another stoppage. Forward edge of the centre square for the Seagulls, leading by 54 points. As Rodder and Sherry go at it once again. Sherry over the top, it's straight to Hibbard. He's having a day out, and now a chance for Kennedy to kick the Seagulls inside 50. Intercepted by Cunningham.
Hibbard's up to 27.
Off the ground for a little rest.
Scott over the top. It's not a great ball for Crocker. It did travel the required 15. He did well to pull the mark down in the end, did Joel Crocker. Left half back. Expensive side of the ground. The shadows creeping longer over Downer Oval. He's kicked down a line looking for Campbell. Does well to take the mark. There's big Tom Campbell. Right football. Kangaroos into attack.
Well done by Joel Tippett then.
Read it well in flight. Took the relieving mark for the Seagulls.
Been really good too.
It's just been easy pickings for the Seagulls as the Kangaroos have rushed balls into attack today. We've seen Lee Masters in particular take a number of intercept marks. Now sloppy footy in the middle of the ground here for the Kangaroos. Jansen eventually cleaned it up and got it to Tom Murphy inside 50. Hibbard's Garner was his target. Hosey was down there as well. Tippett, another touch for him. It's a high ball. Underneath it was Nash Holmes, took a brave mark. Quickly chips into the pocket. Mark taken by Hosey.
Yeah, Nash Holmes has had a good game, but we want to try and kick this goal now.
So, probably right after this goal's kicked, we're going to lose our SEN2 audience. Switch over to VFL.com.au for the end of this game. It is, before the kick, a 9-goal lead for the Seagulls. They are going to get a win and move into the top 4 of the VFL today as Hosey kicks that one across the face. It stays in play momentarily, a minor score. So North Melbourne 10-10-70, Williamstown a 19-9, 123, 24 and a half gone in the final term. Game is about to end, but thank you to our SEN2 audience for listening. Next week, you'll have the Northern Blues taking on Footscray from Icon Park. That's a 12:45 start. Switch over now to VFL.com.au for the end of the game.
Rodder has it at half forward for Williamstown. They've worked this from coast to coast very nicely. Deep in the pocket now is Donnell. Tries to take on his defender and got a handball away, but Murphy able to lay the tackle on him. Crowd calling for holding the ball. They won't get it. Goal kicking's been a bit of an issue for Williamstown this year. They've kicked more behinds than goals in most of the games they've played, but 19-9 this afternoon certainly hasn't been an issue today, and able to put up a big score. Not usually a high-scoring team either, the Seagulls, but perhaps those two stats go hand in hand. But Andy Collins will surely be happy with his side's offensive output this afternoon. All the while holding North Melbourne to only 70 points. From the restart, Rovat with the clearance for North Melbourne. Kick just clears defensive 50, taken by Masters, who arched the back and got away from Hosey. Now Pickus wants to work his way through a couple of tackles. Handball over the top to Wheeler, who's been prolific as well this afternoon. That was disposal number 26 for him. But Leonardis able to clear for North Melbourne, and he finds Bailey Scott at halfback.
So winding down now for what's going to be a big win for the Seagulls. They'll be in the top 4 tonight. They'll move to 6 and 4. Kick up towards half forward. Mark taken here by Singh for the Seagulls. Now Tippett, another touch for him. He's had a very good game today. This will be disposal number 20. He's taken 5 marks as well, Joel Tippett. One of the better players on the ground today. Just getting him.
How many goals in this last quarter, boys?
I'll get Michael Pipicelli to chase that one down as I keep calling the play here.
4 goals to 1 in favour of the Seagulls, Stoney.
Didn't even need to chase it down. He just had it off the top of his head, Stoney.
He's very good.
Smart operator is Michael Pipicelli. He'll be on the coverage with myself and Glenn Hill next week for the Blues and the Bulldogs. There's, well, just some cheap touches now in the back line here for the Seagulls. Charleston will take this mark. 53-point ball game. Mark taken here by Garizer at centre half back. Curious to see who Stoney does go after for the post-game interview when the siren does sound here. 27 minutes gone, final term. Might be this man, Mitch Hibbert. 29th disposal of the game coming up to keep his average above 20 for the season. Down the line, too much that time for Andrews. Now at the back, mark taken by Campbell.
He would have taken a few marks today, Tommy Campbell.
Might be able to chase that stat down for you as well, Stoney.
So I kicked the kick.
5 marks for Tom Campbell. It's in the hands of Masters.
It's been a brick wall across half-back today. Lee Masters was one of their best players last week, and he's followed it up with another good effort
6
today.
marks.
But intercepted by Campbell. Those two just playing their own game at the moment.
I heard that one.
Padding their intercept mark stats, perhaps. As the siren sounds, and Williamstown makes it 3 wins out of their last 4 with a big 53-point win over the Kangaroos. 19-9, 123 to 10-10, 70. They'll be in the top 4 tonight.
Stoney?
Mitch Hibbert, you would have liked that, Mitch, today?
Yeah, no, it was a good win. Got rid of me last year, so it was nice to get one back.
Your own form, you've been in great form this season. You must be really enjoying your footy.
No, I am. Cole's been, I can't thank him enough. He's been great. Just enjoying footy again. Didn't really like it that much last year, so it's back enjoying footy, and yeah, hopefully big things ahead for the boys this year.
You look fitter, Mitch. You seem to be running on top of the ground. You seem to be getting a lot more contests. It looks a new player.
Yeah, it is. No, I was used as a sort of tall defender, so back playing mid, which is good. So and loving it. So hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, I've got to ask about this ground, mate. A lot of people don't like coming to this ground. It's the conditions, but you found it all right, training and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it gets very windy at training, but no, it was a perfect day today. So absolutely loving the boys. Boys thrive off it. So we hate losing when we're here. So it's good.
I'll let you go, mate. You want to say good luck to your ex-teammates and all those sort of things, mate?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers.
Thank you, Stoney. An outstanding day for you, boundary side today. I hope you enjoyed the sunshine beaming into your face.
I did. I loved it.
I hope you haven't got the sunny suntan. I know you had the sunnies on all day, so just be mindful of that one, Stoney. I've been called out once or twice with that. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, Stoney. I think you're having a week off next week. We'll have Glenn Hill back.
Yeah.
19-9-123. The Seagulls, too good for North Melbourne today. 10-10-70. The final margin was 53 points. Michael, let's have a look at the VFL app and some of the stats leaders as we wrap up our coverage today here on VFL.com.au.
Well, the man Stoney just interviewed, Mitch Hibberd, he'll probably find himself with a best on-ground performance. Leading disposal winner on the ground. He had 29 disposals, 12 tackles and 2 goals as well. So he did it all, did Mitch Hibberd. Willie Wheeler for Williamstown also 26 disposals, 8 tackles and a goal. So he had himself a big game, and Jake Greiser followed up last week's great performance with another 21 disposals. Looking at the Kangaroos, Paul Ahern, Tom Campbell and Joel Crocker all tied for 21 disposals apiece. Campbell obviously in the ruck, had a good battle with Nick Meese as well. Paul Ahern probably drifted off a little bit in the second half, but a disappointing day for the Kangaroos.
Thank you, Michael Pipichelli. Next week we're off to Icon Park, headquarters for AFL Victoria. It will be the Northern Blues taking on Footscray, 2 teams we have not yet seen here on Hardjacker. Totally work with VFL Live. Stone, we've still got you. Thank you for your contributions. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Thank you, Michael Pipichelli. Looking forward to Icon Park next week for the Blues and Bulldogs.
Thank you, Adam. I'll see you there.
And thank you to the audience. It was a 53-point win for the Seagulls today.